Welcome to another episode of
Right.
Industrial Amputation, where you can always expect the unexpected. Today we have us with the ever-intriguing Belladonna joining us. They are a huge enthusiast of music, films, horror, and so much more. Belladonna, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone. Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me. Very much so.
yeah,
Here we are.
Such
here
a
we go.
pleasure. So you go to a lot of horror conventions. Want to know what captivates you about the film genre?
Oh, boy. What captivates me about the horror film genre? I mean, do you want to be here for all night? I mean, come on now. That's a big question.
Come on, what do you
Well,
Yeah.
want?
it really starts back to childhood.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Hmm.
when I was very young, I was scared of everything, a very scary kind of life. And I learned to not retreat into, but to find solace into scary things. The scary things in movies and books and whatnot. Started with books, and then, of course, it grew into films. And what I found from when I was very young, that I did not fear the monsters on the screen or in the stories. I learned more to watch out for the human monsters and revel in and enjoy the
Oh
so-called
yeah,
scary ones.
yeah,
Mhm.
So, and now as a grown individual, I think that all started when I was maybe like, I don't know, 8, and I am certainly not 8 now. So for all this lifetime, the horror genre has been a bookend to my existence. It
yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much it's not all there is to me by any means, but even if you kind of look around you, I think you kind of get the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
so yeah, I mean it's the idea that sometimes it's just pure fun, just like Evil Dead kind of fun. It's just good
Yeah.
times, you know. Other times it's a lot more cerebral. There's a lot more to it.
Mhm.
yeah,
Mm. I
You
guess
can dig
you.
deep into what Clive Barker called tapping the vein.
yeah,
And
Uh,
I think when we understand our fears and our darkness more, that we can better live our actual light in lives, lights and lives, lives and light. I don't know. I
yeah.
made sense in a moment. Let me try that again.
mm.
I think it sounded profound and cool, and I just went and shit the bed.
No, it's all
But
good.
yeah, but I think you get what I mean. It's more the idea that when we understand darkness more, we can live in the light more easily.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And there's nothing to be afraid of on screen or in a book or anything like that.
yeah,
And I think it's something that when you like to walk in that kind of darkness, it makes it easier for you to live in your life. It did for me anyway. It started a long time ago and it's still going. So
yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah,
good.
there you
Similar for me. Yeah, I
go.
I tend to jump headfirst into the things that scare me and overcompensate.
Yeah, I think I know a
So
thing or two about that.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I have learned over time that what my mind comes up with is always going to be scarier than what
Yes,
I think I'm getting into. And
absolutely.
yeah.
Oh God, like doing this today. I
Yeah,
was all
there you
like, ooh, and everything's
go.
fine, having a good time. But
Yeah.
no, that's very true because when I going
Mhm.
to the idea of bad things,
Hmm.
and you had real things to be scared of. So
Yeah.
the idea of Dracula, Frankenstein, clowns that came out of sewers and ate children wasn't shit. That was nothing because that was all in your imagination. And
Yeah.
it would convince my imagination to go further and further and to say, how much more ugly and scary can I get with things? How much darker can I go? How much
Yeah.
can I push this envelope?
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Horror is absolutely one of my favorite film genres, and
Hmm.
we could spend the entire episode talking about that alone.
Yes, we could.
What are some of your favorite horror films?
Oh God,
Top of
here
your head,
goes the
what comes to you?
question. Here goes the question. So
Put you on the spot.
So you have things, of course, like Hellraiser. I'm a big, big Hellraiser fan when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Um, Mostly when I look at it, though, realistically speaking, there you go. It's the first two films, which are quite wonderful. Mr. Barker's directly involved in them. They do get a bit on the cheese side going forward. And there's a lot to pick apart in all of the sequels. There's some really good stuff too. I met of course, Doug Bradley, and I met Ashley Lawrence just recently.
Hmm.
But I also met Craig Sheffer, who was in Hellraiser Inferno, which I thought was actually a really great movie.
Yeah.
So and he was also in course of Nightbreed, another favorite
Oh,
horror
that's a
movie of
great one.
mine.
Love Nightbreed.
Or
So
maybe
was
that's more
one
of
of
a drama for me.
yeah.
I look at that one as one that I identify with a great deal more,
Me
in my
too.
opinion.
Yeah.
There you go. But I
There's some where you're
mean,
like, oh, it's a horror movie, and then there's others like, oh, that's my life.
Well, I think that was a lot of the problem with it when it came out, that the studio executives were like, "Wait, the monsters are the good guys? What's going
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
on here?" And that they really ripped up Barker's original vision, which happens, of course.
Mhm.
And if you've seen the later version, it's quite great. But I mean, even just that cut up version from the what about 1990 or whatever that was, it just gave you, as it said in the film, a place to escape to. So those are some of my favorite, more like I guess, for lack of a better word, pop type ones. But then you also have things like going back to the old school of like Rosemary's Baby, anything like Roman Polanski type films,
Yeah.
everything that really fucks with your head a great deal, gets under your
Yeah.
skin and really taps the vein, as I like to say, as Mr. Barker
Yeah.
coined.
Yeah.
So things like that. I mean, there's not any one thing. We were watching, what was it we were watching the other day? A horror film. We were watching something, a really old one. Yeah, we were watching something really old. And I think it was even like an old silent. And it was just wonderful, to go back into the further reaches of horror films to the beginning and
Yeah.
experience horror being portrayed in that fashion. So there's no one kind, everything is great. I mean, I almost wish I had all the films around so I could just be like, look,
Yeah.
just look at this one. This is a favorite. This is a favorite. Because there's too damn many. Everything from like,
Yeah.
like I said, Evil Dead, to say like my personal favorite of everything is David Lynch. So
Mm.
that's one
Uh-huh.
from two. Gets in your head.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sorry, am I coming out all right? I know you guys probably hear me
Yeah.
breaking
No,
up
you're
here.
doing great.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So
Hang on one second if you guys
yeah.
hang on. What's that, dear? No, because I don't know if it'll drop if you do. Yeah. Thank you though. Do I look all right? Oh, shut up. All
You look good. You're looking good.
right. Thank you. All right, sorry. Continue.
No, you're looking good. Looking good.
Thank you.
So
All
the
right.
more we learn about you, the more it becomes apparent, especially with you sitting there with that massive, massive collection, that you are a massive collector of so many things. Can you run us through
Things.
some of your favorite things to collect?
Things is a good way to put it. I've always said that I'm a collector of things.
Yes.
Stuff just sort of interests me. I mean, they're the obvious things like the horror stuff and whatnot, and all of the industrial golf things. But there's a lot of stuff that I'm just like, I just like this weird shit, and so I pick it up. If you could see around you, I have a lot of weird things. I have some. I
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see how far you can see, but no, you can't see. But there's actually a 1975 Jaws game where the thing opens up. It's just a big
Oh,
plastic shark.
awesome.
I've got, you know
I
the one I'm
remember
talking about, right?
that. I
Yeah.
remember
I've
that.
got that over
Yeah.
here in the box. I've got the box here. I've got Masters of the Universe. I've got Aliens. I've got some pop figures over here. I've got a bunch of concert shit here. I've got the Lord
Oh,
Jesus here. I've got all kinds of shit like that.
I've
I
got a
have
weird one for you.
what's that? Go ahead. Let's see it.
So when I was a kid, one of my
Yeah.
favorite things of all time was the Monster Maker and Superhero Maker, where you had
Mm,
plates and you took the
you
crayon
did
and
the
you
thing, right? I
yeah,
always
yeah,
saw those. I never got one. I always wanted those
yeah,
things, but I remember that. Yeah.
yeah. You had to
You
your
had the
head
Monster
so
Maker.
in the bottom, and so you could change them up and be superhero
Yeah, because they
monsters and yeah,
where you had the boy version, they had the girl version, which was like
yeah,
Barbie
yeah.
or
They
something.
did.
The
Yes, they
fashion
did. That's
plates,
right.
right?
Yeah,
All
yeah. The
right, I didn't
fashion
imagine
plates
that.
thing. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
It fits into
No.
a monster.
Well, the one I always wanted though was
So that was like a
the
favorite toy
creepy
for you, huh?
crawly maker where you were able to make your own bugs and
Oh
insects.
yeah, they
Oh
where you
yeah.
could like, is that the ones like you like melted shit and
Hmm.
something like that? Yeah,
Yeah,
never
yeah.
got that either. Liked the commercials a
Yeah, I
lot.
didn't either, but I really wanted that one.
I
So,
love the commercials. They were so much fun.
but I do
Yeah.
like real
Yeah.
spiders now.
They
So
were having
There you go.
they were having a special on the the bug making machine
Mm.
because it was some kids thought it was little candy, so
yeah,
they would just say eat them.
yeah, they'd eat them. Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah, and then they had some where they make them and you can eat them.
and they
Yeah, they
did
were the ones that
come
you could
out with
eat,
the
right?
ones where you could actually eat them. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
we don't want the smarter children eating the non-edible ones.
yeah, right.
Like what part of
those
that's
would
like,
be
oh look,
great for
I
the
made a
next level.
plastic bug. Ooh.
That would be so awesome. I wish I had one now. I could make my own edibles.
You know what? Well, there you go. And
I'm a
that's the way it would be for
cockroach.
the modern. You know what? I think we need to get on this. That would be the modern way.
There
You
we
know
Yeah,
what I
go.
always
Yeah.
wanted? Here's a total shift in things though. When I was a kid, they had the commercial, and I'm getting a look right now because you think you know it's coming. It was the Snoopy snow cone maker.
Oh my
Always
God, I
Yeah,
wanted
love
one.
that
those.
thing. Yeah.
Never got one of those
Yeah.
either until like more
Yes.
recently we found one, and
Uh,
it's like, oh, you got one. I'm like, well, what the hell do I do with it now?
Yeah.
no, yeah.
Make
It
shaved
sits.
ice, man. Make shaved
You
ice.
know what? In the commercial, it looked like fucking magic. It's not.
It's not.
Really
It's
hard.
not.
It's really
It is
hard.
very
Make it
hard.
like
Yeah.
this much. So I have it sitting in storage right now. I finally got it. It only took a long time, but you know. So that's like the diversity of things. There's the horror
Yes.
movie stuff, the creepy crawlies and whatnot.
Yep.
And then there's
Like Evil
Snoopy. I love
Knievel's.
Snoopy. Evil Knievel is very cool. I've
Yeah.
got He-Man over here, lots of He-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember the
She-Ra's up
monster?
there.
Not He-Man. Stretch Armstrong. That's what it
Oh
was.
yeah, Stretch
Where they
Armstrong.
had
If you
the
pulled it,
monster that came out.
if you
Oh, that's right.
he blew
Yeah,
up.
one of my
Not that I did
friends
that on
in
purpose.
elementary school was the ended up being on the commercial when they made the Hulk one
Oh,
where
right.
pumped it up and he broke out of the cage. And
Wow.
one of my friends in elementary school was the kid in that commercial. And we were
Wow.
like, wow, we know somebody famous.
There's so many cool things like that. I don't know if they have cool things like that now or not, but I
Yeah.
mean, there was a
Yeah.
lot of things. I think a lot of it too is for when I was young. I longed for a lot of things that I wasn't allowed to have.
Yeah, me too.
So now I'm a big child. I kind of just do
And
whatever
I
I
can
want.
have it. Yep.
And I do a
It's like, tell me no.
lot of weird things. You know, I've got a puppy. I wasn't allowed to have pets as a child. I've got mannequins all over the room. There's a lot of weird mannequins in here. I've found like a little toy piano that's sitting over there. I've got a little traveling humidor full of Barbie heads, but that's another story.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I got a lot of Barbie heads. I just do.
I
There was a
used to wear
period when
an
I was
elf
doing that.
head. I used to wear an elf head
Oh,
on
nice.
my ear, and it was like from a Christmas like elf on a shelf type thing
Right.
back in the 80s, and I had ripped its head off and
Yeah,
tied it and made an earring out of it, and ended up
you were
losing that
that kid.
actually at a Mother Love Bone show. I went to
Oh,
and
I have an
wow.
interesting thing like that. So when I was in high school, this is, at the time way back when before, all of this wonderful internet shit, you didn't have all access to things about bands and music. You just had to kind of get what you got.
Yeah.
And there wasn't merch all over the place. So I was in high school and there was an anatomy class. And they would, if anybody gets all faint about this, I apologize. It's not my doing. They would have dissections
Yeah.
for cats. And I didn't have that class. I didn't want to take it because I was not interested in dissecting a cat. But
Yeah.
I knew the teacher really well. Inside, he had from one of his classes the top portion of a cat's skull. And I asked him if I could have it. So I tied it around my neck and I wore it with a ribbon and I wrote on the top of it, Vivisect 6. I was
Oh,
that kid.
nice.
I was that kid. I still have it
You're
too.
that kid.
I was that kid. There
Yeah.
you go. All right. If you keep me talking, I will keep going. So if you want to interrupt me at any time, go
Me and one
ahead.
of my friends were going to make the in high school. We were trying to make the Ankh knife from the Hunger in our jewelry class. It didn't go that well, but we worked
Right.
on some casting, and then one of our other friends, actually, he's the Enigma now. One of my friends from high school. He
Wait,
found
the Enigma?
yeah,
The puzzle guy.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and he
All
found
right.
a dead mouse in my friend Roger's shed and got it, took it home, boiled it, completely removed all the meat and tissue and everything. So he just had, then he put the fucking skeleton back together, this little tiny skeleton back together, and made
Nice.
a cast of it and
Nice.
made it into metal. And I can't remember if it came out all right. I think it kind of had some problems.
I would
'Cause
imagine.
he basically he had to cook the thing so that the bone on the inside turned to ash. And
Oh my God. Weird. He was always a bit of enigma there,
Yeah.
yeah,
Enigma.
no, totally. He had a pentagram
I guess. He
like
was that
carved
kid.
in
Oh,
red
all right,
ink
that's
into
cool.
his palm. And
Do you still got his number?
no, I don't. I wish I did. His senior photo, he gave me a copy of his senior photo, and on the back
Mm.
of it, he wrote, "Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm schizophrenic, and so am I. Have a great have a great summer," or something like that.
You always wonder what happens to the weird kids. At least you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we had so much fun.
Awesome. That's
Enigma's
cool.
true.
He loved Bauhaus, but could not stand Peter Murphy, a solo Peter Murphy.
Well, you know. That's all
But
right.
yeah, no, just incredible guy.
Like I toured with Enigma. He was really
Did you
cool.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Did
I
he
like-
did he do the eating of things, the whatever? The what do they
Nah.
call that?
No,
He
I
said
kept,
you
I
gotta
kept
eat.
him laughing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kept him laughing.
You
He
got
was
you gotta
always-
eat maggots. You gotta chew up all the maggots. You cannot swallow
Yeah.
a maggot.
Well, yeah, you know,
that's
you have to
not
chew
chewed
the
up
maggots.
because it will burrow
It
its
comes
way
back,
out.
and you know, and
Yeah.
then you get a pretty good horror movie out of that shit.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, really.
Then you
No,
have-
Write that down.
Then you have a snack hole.
no, he was always either with me, he would come up and talk about music and he wanted to play guitar. We talk, I keep him laughing. And my son liked him. He thought he was weird with the horns, but
Mhm.
he looked horrifyingly intimidating,
Yeah.
but he was really a nice guy. Really a nice guy.
Yeah.
If
he
I
was.
met someone that
That's
was
often how it goes, you know.
Yeah.
yeah, if I met
Because the
someone that
people
was
think
horrible,
about me that way, let me tell you.
Yeah.
probably, and they probably do. You know,
Oh, yeah.
you have a presence. I'm
Yeah.
sure you do.
Yeah.
I have
But-
something, yes.
You do.
I have a puppy,
And
that's
we-
what helps.
And
It does.
we
No, that's actually true. It's actually very true.
yeah. And we his little beady eyes are just so inviting.
Well, you know, that's actually true. There's a lot to it. I never really explain much. It's just not my nature, but I don't mind explaining, just nobody ever asks.
Yeah.
There's a lot to how things are, you know, it's not just all by chance.
Mhm.
And her being a big part of this was actually started from having my previous Master Peeps, as I've mentioned.
Mm.
So at a very, very bad point in life, Master Peeps was kind of all I had. There was a time when some, you know, just bad things had happened. And I was sort of shut in and I stopped going outside. I stopped living, really. And I didn't know what was going to come of me. Well, Master Peeps was with me. I'd only had him a short time. And at that point, he needed to go outside. You know, he needed to get out and be a puppy.
Yeah.
So I would take him out to the park and whatnot,
Yeah.
reluctantly. And you think, you know, she's very sweet and wonderful. She's very royal. You know, Peeps is very like, yes, come and pet me. Thank you. Whereas Peeps was like, everybody, let's have fun. Come on, let's hang out.
Yeah.
And I could not get away from talking to people.
Uh-huh.
And at a time when I was disconnecting from everyone, he helped me to reconnect.
Yeah.
So when he passed away, she was all that I once I finally got her again, she helped to bring me back in general. And having her now,
Yeah.
just having her with me gets people's interest, of
Yeah.
course. But I've had things where people probably would not have spoken to me otherwise. They want to come and meet her. I've had like autistic children come and talk to me and reach out and actually communicate with me, which they don't do very easily.
Yeah.
All really because of her. She's the open door. So, and
That's
she's
beautiful.
sitting on her ass right now, not doing much, but that's all right. She deserves it.
She
She
does have a
deserves it.
very inviting face.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't. I terrify people. But, you know.
Yeah,
She
just the
got you
wrong
to do
people.
that.
Just the wrong people. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
She leaves that job to you while she sits back on the chill.
You know, I
Weeds.
found that the more extreme my makeup and my clothes were, the better time I had with old ladies in particular. They were very, very nice. I'm a walking paradox when it comes to something like that. I would look scary, you know, I've got the
Yeah.
weird makeup on all over and everything,
Mm.
but then, you know, I'm like holding the door for the ladies, and then we would
Right.
sit and talk. I'm like, I love the blue tint in your hair. She's like, it wasn't supposed to be blue though. And I'm like, yeah, but it's so pretty. You just
Well,
love
see, a
it.
lot of it is personality, you know, how
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the reason I do anything, and I believe I was explaining this to Danny when I spoke to her, was
Yeah.
that everything is about perspective and choice, everything I
Yeah.
do. And that's how I live my life. It's all about perspective and choice. Perspective is my favorite word.
Mhm.
And it's very Obi-Wan Kenobi of me, but you know, you'll find that a lot of things matter by how you look at them from a certain point of view, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Very much.
And
Time
time
is
and whatnot
great.
changes the way you see things, and you always have a choice. So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
what's up?
Time.
I'm
Just
sorry, I
thinking
cut out
that
again. I
time.
apologize.
Time is a great bringer on of perspective. Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you're out in the world in real time, Everybody has choices. Everybody has a choice whether they want to be kind, they want to be rude, they want to talk, they want to make judgments about you.
Mhm.
So my whole point of any of the art I do is to provide perspective and choice. Everyone has
Yeah. Yeah, right.
it.
Yep.
So when I'm out there talking to people, they might expect something a bit more spooky, and they get it, but they also get the politeness, the friendliness, the eagerness to talk and have fun. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing to me, is that everyone has a good time, rather
Mhm.
than walking around like I'm trying to terrify everyone. I can do that without saying much.
Mhm.
But it's much more interesting to actually communicate with people and connect with people. That's why I started doing things more publicly. I didn't really have
Mhm.
a public life at all until, what was it, 2 years ago? Thereabouts.
Uh-huh.
And I started to realize that there was a lot I wanted to share with people.
Yeah.
And I just said,
Yeah.
well, screw it. Let's start doing that. Let's start getting out there. So, you know,
Yeah.
I'm
That's
Well, I'm
starting
right.
glad
to
you
make
do what you
sure.
do.
Well, thank you very much. So am I, because I wouldn't be doing much otherwise, I don't think. You know, it's very much important to me. I- A lot of people ask, what is it you do exactly? Are you a makeup artist? Do you sculpt? Do you do this? Do you that? Do you play music? I do all of those things.
Mhm.
I consider
Huh.
myself to be the art, and that's not meant to be pretentious, but
Mhm.
the existence is art. The whole
Yeah.
Mhm.
life is art, every part of it. So, you know,
I'm
it's
trying
a
to
bit
get
heady to
back
say
to
I am the
that.
art, but
Yeah.
it's hard. It's a lot of work. I mean, I balance life in general, just finding the time to do things like I was doing a lot of the YouTube videos. I stepped back from it because I just don't have the time to do all of that work and just to see people not watch it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to revamp all of that while I balance my life in general, while I take care of my puppy, do the day to day and still get out there to go to horror conventions, go to concerts, go out and do photo shoots and video shoots and whatnot. Sometimes in everything from negative-degree weather, which we were out at -18, wasn't it?
Ooh.
Roundabouts when we went to see Leatherstrip, -18, that sort of
Yeah.
sucked. But then we were also out in about 98 with 100% humidity. So
Yeah.
I find time to pack all of that in and
Yeah.
try not to go insane in the process, because
Mhm.
without all of that, without all of this art, with all of these things and whatnot, I don't think life would be worth living.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I wish our
That's my
government could get
opinion.
on
I'm
board with
sorry.
that and make
I keep
sure
breaking
that
up, don't I?
no, I just wish that our government would get on board with that and start spending more money on the arts instead of trying
Absolutely.
to pull money away from that.
Well, that's always been a struggle, hasn't it?
Yeah,
You
no, it
Yeah.
know?
has. I mean, I walk through downtown and I'll see, a flyer on a business window. We support the, whatever high school football team, or we
Right.
support whatever baseball team, and I'm like, where are the ones supporting the drama team or the
Oh,
drama
yeah.
club and
When I was in school,
the
that's
art
all
department?
we really did was like schooling and sports in general. When I went to
Mm,
school, it was not a big school or anything. So it was very sports. That was it.
mhm.
There
Mhm.
was no drama or theater program until I started it,
Yeah.
because there was
Mhm.
Good
nothing
on
for me.
you.
Well, thank you. I
Yeah,
mean, I think they benefited more after the fact, because I understand it's thriving now, but I got the door
That's-
open.
that's great.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I
it's
went to
true,
a good high school. Yeah,
Well, you're lucky. You're very lucky. I mean, I
yeah.
think, what I think is great though, when I look at it this way, and we're all of a certain age, let's say. I'm
Hmm.
not even going to tell you how old I am. Don't even ask. But if we're all of a certain age, and we can remember these things, we can remember pushing through, dealing with this stuff. We remember a time when there were places that sold things called records when they were new and not repressed and made twice as expensive. We
Yeah,
remember television, in a sense, not streaming and this and that. Or when you had to go and find things, you had to go and experience them. Now,
yeah,
that's all great, and it's all gone now.
yeah.
What's
Yeah.
great now, though, is that even though the kids may have a different way of learning things, and there may be the struggle again for the arts against the sports, against whatever else,
Yeah,
they can do things like I'm doing right now.
yeah.
Mhm.
I got
No, it's a
back into
beautiful thing
things.
to witness. As an
It
artist, it's
really
a
is. It
beautiful thing to witness.
Mhm.
really is. I broke my damn club. Look at that. So it really is, because I got to a point where I was doing a lot of different things. I've always been doing something artsy, but it's very hard. And when you have no support, and I don't mean even financial, because that's hard enough, but when you
Hmm.
don't have people behind you, family, things like that, it's even harder. And it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to quit.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain it to someone recently would ask me about, how did you get to do it, to be doing what you're doing, which is not easy to answer. So I liken it to my favorite epic poem of sorts would be Dante's Divine Comedy. And if you're familiar,
Yes.
in the beginning of the Divine Comedy, he's starting at the path to hell. I'm sorry, you can hear a train in the background. Sorry about that. Um, now they
That's a
come
nice
through.
sound.
Now they have to come through. Sons of bitches. All right, so
I can.
I was getting to this really deep and interesting thing. We're going to tell you all this, and then
Then Folsom Prison Blues comes on.
all right. I'm sorry. So, all right, everything is fine. All right,
Yeah.
so back to hell now.
Yeah.
So in Dante's Inferno, in the beginning, essentially to boil it down, the narrator has come to a place in life where he has lost his path. He's looking to the different directions. Every direction seems barred by a ferocious beast. Now, I came to a point in life where I had lost my path completely. I didn't know where I was going. It seemed like everything was wrong, and I had choices. There goes choice and perspective again.
Yeah.
I could decide to turn back and just say, fuck it. I could decide to just sit down and give up, take no path, and take the final exit. Or I could look to the distance and realize that I saw the glistening of paradise in the back, and I could choose to start walking through hell if I wanted to get there.
Yeah.
And so that's essentially what I started to do. And
Mhm.
in that particular journey, the different things I would have to do was to start to learn things. So I would have to go back to school and learn all about the internet,
Mm.
all about these different things because I didn't know any of it. And I guess the roundabout point, long story short, too late, was that in this day and age, anybody can do that. The kids can do it. The youthful people can do it. The old people can do it, whatever. You can go back, you can learn, you can pick anything up.
Yep.
You don't have to fight as hard as you would have maybe a long time ago. There's a character in fighting, but there's also a lot of people who fall during the fight.
Yeah.
So to be able to pick things up, I'll give you a really neat example, a little bit of a name drop. Not really, just someone I
Mhm.
got to meet and talk to for the moment. We went to see Flat Night Assembly back in, I think that was last September. And we got a lucky chance to talk with Mr. Belieb. And we were talking about how hard it is for young people in the music industry right now and whatnot. And he's absolutely right. It's much more different world than when he was starting out. But the great thing is that as hard as it can be to really take off and make your way in the world with, becoming big or even becoming serviceable, you can do anything you fucking want. I went to school online, which I'd never done before. I learned everything there was to know about communications in the modern world, how to navigate the internet, how to use social media, everything. Then I picked up for the first time ever all of the things on the computer, all of the social media, and learned it just moment by moment. I wanted to learn how to edit videos. I got a program. I started to learn it. I wanted to learn how to make music. I got programs, and real musicians, please don't shoot me. But I'm learning a synthesizer and whatnot through a computer program.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do it. I didn't have the money to do all these great things and have all the equipment and do all this cool stuff. So I was able to say, all right, I've got this much time, I've got this much money, I want it done. Rather than giving up because it's too hard, I can just make it happen. That's the great thing about what you can do nowadays. And that's where that walk through hell was worth it. Because I think I'm in
Mhm.
purgatory now. I don't think I've hit paradise yet. But that's what it was worth taking that path. Because for as frightened as I've been before, unsure, angry, frustrated, depressed, ready to give up, I look now and think, holy shit. If I'd have stopped, I wouldn't be experiencing. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to Charles Levi, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very
That's
true.
right.
Yeah.
Think about
Very true.
that.
It's
Yeah.
funny. Michael Carrasquillo
Yeah.
this morning sent me
Thank
a
you.
little video reel on Facebook Messenger, and it's of what's his
Hmm.
name, Will Smith, talking about
Hmm.
when Quincy Jones had him sitting in a room, or had called him and said, "Hey, we've got this producer and whatever. We're wanting to get you on the show Fresh Prince of Bel Air." And he's like, "Well, I'm not an actor. I'm going to need a few weeks." And he's like, "Okay, well, we'll give you a few weeks, but I tell you what, when you're ready." The director is going to have something come up, and it's probably going to be another 2 weeks. And then when that happens and that's all taken care of, someone else is probably going to have another 2 weeks. He's like, the point I'm trying to make is I've got all these people sitting in my house right now, ready to go. Do you want to do this?
Right.
And Will Smith said, that was when I learned, fuck it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Mhm.
Just do
And thank you, Michael,
Absolutely.
for sending me that. It's so very relevant to what's going on in my life right now. And I do appreciate you very much for sending me that.
That's very cool. Yeah. And I agree completely. And it's
Yeah.
very relevant to my life.
Yeah.
I've had to, suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous assholes and misfortune in the world. And
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
even people I talk to, people who I consider friends and whatnot. I'm always trying to help. I always want to help people.
Yeah.
But there's that part of like, all right, I'm worried about this. We're hesitant about that. You need to say, fuck it, get up off your ass and
Yeah.
Do it. I bet you.
do it. Let's make this happen. You might fail, you might
I
fall.
bet.
I don't know. You might succeed even. But if you just sit there and make excuses,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go.
I bet you would have a really good band.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you would.
Yeah, I
Like
probably
not
would.
even just a
Yes.
band, not just a band,
Mm.
but whatever musical, pilot you want to go on, you have a variety of things.
I hope so. Thank you for saying so.
I believe so.
I'm never
So
sure.
so always, all the programming and stuff that you can pick up
Mhm.
on YouTube, everything. You've done it well with it already. I
Mhm.
can see
Thank
you
you.
taking it to another level,
I'm trying
big time. And then all of a
to. It
sudden,
feels like I'm sort of right at the edge of that. Like
yeah,
I'm always telling Laura that, like Laura, we're right on the edge. Come on, let's jump.
yeah,
She's like, get back here.
yeah,
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always feeling like, all right, I'm not one to like say, oh, I know there's future something coming.
yeah.
I'm on the edge of something.
Well, I
I
feel,
don't know what.
I feel you're on that. You're there.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
on that edge, and
Yeah.
whatever you want to involve yourself in, you're going to give it your all,
Yeah.
and it's going to be
Well, that's the
definitely.
great thing is
things
that
coming.
there's so
Yeah.
much I want to. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to involve myself in so much. And I think that's the thing when I say like the idea of just fuck it. I have just, well, I won't say I've just fucked it. That doesn't sound right. I was about to say
No.
that. Let's not go there. That's weird. Shit.
No.
This
Bring
got
it down,
weird.
bring it down to Nike level, I guess. Yeah, just do
All
it.
right, there we go. Just do it.
There we go.
But
Just
no,
do it.
that's a lot of it is that
Oh, by the way, fuck
yes.
Nike. Sorry. Go ahead.
Fuck Nike. What do they know? I don't know. I've never owned a pair. I've never owned a pair. I don't know.
Nikes.
I don't have shoes. I have one pair of shoes. That's not true. I have a pair of shoes that are okay. I don't have. They are wrestling shoes that I wear for working out because they're the
Yeah,
closest thing to not
They are
having
very
anything on.
comfy. Yes.
There you go.
Mm.
And there's something that you didn't know about me, and you probably didn't need to. But anyway, but actually, to the idea of talking, we got strings coming off here. This has to come apart now, doesn't it?
And then
I
a little
guess, I don't know.
threadbare there.
I know.
I'm really just held together by dental floss and chewing gum, and there it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, you
so
got
the
the
idea,
dental floss
speaking of
too.
like
That's
working out,
awesome.
what's that? Sorry?
I said you've got the dental floss too. That's awesome. It makes better
Yes.
thread than thread.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
one of my pairs of New Rocks is held together with drywall screws and dental floss.
Mine I have the drywall screws as well in
Yeah.
mine, but I started to use a sort of like industrial strength rubber cement
Yes.
to hold
yeah,
together
that and
parts
too.
of
I
it.
filled in all the holes. They got very heavy.
Yeah, but you know what?
It was one of the prototype pairs that a friend gave me way
That's
back
metal,
in,
baby.
like 95, 96, something like that.
Yeah, I have one of those too actually. They're built like nothing else. They will last
Freaking
forever.
pulleys for the strings.
Mhm.
And the insides were like wearing soft gloves. It was
Yeah.
that was
They
the
don't make
best
them like
pair of
that
boots.
anymore, do they? Yeah.
No, they don't. And that
That's a
medallion
shame.
in the bottom of the foot, so I could, like leave a stamp in someone's head if they piss me off.
Right. Isn't that what they were for? Why do we keep going to
Read these Nikes.
weird places? We went to the F-bomb. We've gone to stamp people's heads in. I thought this was about positivity.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
really.
positivity. Yeah, no, that was an
Positively
old
stomping
joke.
heads.
Absolutely.
Positively stomping. That's what it
Well,
is.
all right. No more caffeine for you.
That's right.
All right, well, what was I saying? I was saying something, wasn't I? Oh, yes, to the point of like saying just fuck it and do it. The
Mm,
idea of working out is actually a very big part of my life. I work out like 5 days a week, very strict regimen that I've taught myself and learned on my own. And I'm very particular. I've been doing that, I'd say 15 or so years when I first started learning. Now, when I first started that,
mm,
I weighed all of about, I don't know for sure because I didn't care much. I think I weighed no more than maybe about 100 or so pounds. I was just
mm,
skin bones. I had no experience whatsoever, no sort of athletic acumen. I know nothing about those things.
mm.
And I never even considered lifting up a weight, but I'd gotten tired of being that way.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the means or the money to go and like get a trainer or go to the big fancy gyms. So I started researching and finding programs. It took months to find out what I needed to do, what sort of program I needed, what I needed to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to push myself and say, all right, you're going to a gym, you're going to work out. I was embarrassed. I was just nervous, everything you could think of. Instead of
Yeah.
giving up, I said, fuck it. If you want this, you got to do it. So to this day, well, I won't tell you how much I weigh. That would be inappropriate. But it's the type of thing now, instead of like, oh, I can't do this. I wasn't allowed to do athletic things when I was young. So I could have just given up and lived life that way. Instead, I said, fuck it, I'm going to learn how to do this. I may not have money. I may not have all these special gifts or whatnot. People
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
could give me for it. I will make it happen myself. And that had made a huge impact and change in my life. But I was able to go and do all this research, figure it out for myself. And rather than say, oh no, I can't do it because I've never done it, I said, fuck it, we're going to make it happen. And that's a big part of my life, is just that sort of living and saying, I may not have the answers right now. I may not succeed, but fuck it, I'm going to try.
Got it.
So there you have it.
It's a very good mantra to have.
I try. I
Yeah.
tried. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not just rambling. I think I'm rambling.
No,
I'm sorry.
no.
No, you're rolling. You're all
Right.
good.
Yeah.
What are some of the best concerts or
Oh,
live shows you've
good.
seen in your lifetime?
So what do you want to ask me then?
What are some of the best
Oh, you
concerts
want to
or
know
live
which
shows
live
you've seen?
shows? All right. So I think like it's interesting because I didn't really get to see a whole lot of live shows until later in life.
Hmm.
And we were just talking about that recently because it's going to be a cliche, but the Skinny Puppy shows of late, it's going to be hard to top that for me.
Mm,
I don't think I can top that experience because it was very special for me.
mm. Yeah.
Um, and that was something I never got a chance to see them. I didn't think I'd get to. So being able to go repeatedly to those shows and make such a, I don't know, such an experience out of it would still be
Yeah.
the greatest for me when it comes to the live shows I've seen. However, I think there's a locale out here called Smalls, and it's in the Detroit area, and it is indeed small, very small. It has a little tiny stage in there. It's this sort of little like sort of bar place.
Mm-hmm.
Those real intimate venues when you're like right up there with the musician pretty much. We saw Leather Strip that way. We saw Adult that way. Who else did we see that? Lana Del Rey's. She like jumped into the audience and was singing.
Oh, wow.
Those types of things, it doesn't matter so much if it's a big name. Like we went and saw Depeche Mode at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, and that was freaking massive.
Yeah.
And that was insane and cool, and it was awesome. And I got some really good, you've probably seen some of it. I got like really good video
Mm.
of Dave Gahan and whatnot dancing around. But as awesome as that was, being in little venues, like where we were when we saw Frontline Assembly, there's a small venue here in the Detroit area. Some of this footage, if you've seen it, I'm like up Bill Lee's nose half the time. I could practically be
Mm,
like seeing what's inside Bill Lee's skull because I'm that close and really getting a great experience. He reaches out and pokes me in the head at one point.
yeah.
Those types of experiences were amazing because it was so much more intimate. So I don't know, like the best thing. I mean, yeah, of course, the Skinny Puppy will always be a big experience for me. But I don't know if there's a best one because I couldn't even remember. Let me
Do
tell you
they,
something interesting. How's this? This is not so much a. I'm sorry. Did I lose you? I got you there.
do they have shows still at St. Andrews Hall?
St. Andrews has reopened now. It was shut
It
down for a
has?
while, and
Wow.
it's only been for a short time, just recently. I think the last year or so, maybe. Yeah,
Uh,
something like that. And because actually, I one of the first cool shows I saw was Frontline Assembly a long time ago at St. Andrews Hall.
yeah. Yeah. St. Andrews Hall has always been,
So that was a
you
long
know,
time ago. but they had shut down for a while. I think for a while it was like a porno theater. Yeah, which was weird because it used to be a church, then it was a venue, then it was for like dirty movies.
It makes sense to
Yeah,
me.
it,
It was a full
It's
circle.
it's Detroit, you know.
yeah, it was like a community center for a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
for a while.
Well, for a while, you know, Detroit went through so many different things, and now that the resurgence of
Yeah,
the city has made a big difference. So yeah, it's back
yeah,
as a regular venue. I've not
yeah,
gone to it yet, but we'll be going to it soon enough, I'm sure. So there are a lot
yeah.
more venues like that out there now. So yeah, but St. Andrews is one of them. Um, I would say like, I'll share with you an interesting experience regarding music. So when I was a child, I had the rare moments I actually enjoyed being around my father. He would take me to a park, a local park, and on every, I guess, Sunday afternoon, these gentlemen would be in the park. And I don't mean like they were on a stage giving a show. They were in the park amongst the trees and picnic tables and whatnot. And they'd come in there, they'd have their big cowboy hats and their fancy like country shirts with all the silvery shit and
Yeah,
Yeah.
the tips
right.
on the
So,
collars. They'd have their boots on, they'd have their banjos and the blues harps and everything. And they would play a show of the greatest bluegrass music I've ever heard in my life.
wow.
And I'd sit and talk with them, and they were good old boys. I don't know what the hell they were doing really, why they were always at this park playing on on Sundays. And I don't even know
Yeah,
how my father knew about it because he was a fucking weirdo. But we would go and, you know, we'd just sit there and sit in the park and listen. So that is
yeah,
something like a live performance is still one of the greatest
yeah, yeah,
That's
because
awesome.
it was something so different that I'd
Yeah.
never heard, and it gave me an appreciation for something different.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's probably not as interesting as an answer as most people would like, but I've
No,
got to say what I feel, you know.
I had fun visiting. I've had fond memories
Mhm.
of Detroit, and just just the energy of the kids,
Yeah.
and fans,
Yeah.
and some of the most outlandish events happen in Detroit. When I would, I never, I went to some musician's house after a show at St. Andrews,
Mhm.
and I looked out of his window, and I saw crack dealers. I had never seen any of that in Chicago, but I
Right.
saw that in Detroit,
Mhm.
and
I laugh
and
because I know exactly what you're talking about. So,
yeah. So I'm trying to remember the name of the band,
yeah.
but Son of
But, you
Sam.
know, it's not all crack dealers, you know.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
and all the people that worked production in at the shows in Detroit,
Mhm.
they were always cool people.
Yeah.
You know,
Detroit's that kind of place. It's a
yeah,
tough place. It always has been tough.
yeah,
And for things like, you know, I've been a lot of places in my life. I lived in Los
uh,
Angeles, I lived in Texas, things like that. And I've seen and done a lot of great things. But
yeah,
when it comes to like see people that are fans are coming to shows, Detroit people, that's why Kiss considers it Detroit Rock City. You
I
know,
was
yeah,
just gonna bring up Kiss, yeah.
there you go. It's just got
I've
that way about it. So perhaps it has something to do with the hardships of the city. I don't know,
yeah.
but it's a very unique place in general that a lot of people don't know that
Mhm.
the you know if you, Detroit's not a destination place. I know they had the NFL draft
I know, I know. I saw that.
just, but otherwise people usually come here. You know,
Yeah,
there's some amazing things here that I could show you. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it,
yeah,
but people have to get here to see it. Come and hang out
yeah,
with me, everyone. Come to Detroit. Belladonna will show you around. You'll
yeah,
love
for
fun.
sure.
Sounds fun.
it.
Yeah, did
I've always wanted to go to Detroit.
Hmm.
Mainly because of the song Detroit Rock City, you know. It's one of those
yeah.
bucket
It was it
stations.
was a band from there called Final Cut.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were really good. They had a really good album. The first album, William
Well,
Tucker.
like Adult
That's
is
yeah,
from
that
here.
was
Adult is freaking amazing. They're from here.
yeah.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah,
gonna see them soon, I believe, right? What day are we seeing them? They're coming up, a few weeks. We're gonna see them.
yeah,
So,
Oh,
you know, they're some of the
yeah.
coolest people there are. So
yeah.
Oh, I had to watch them. I think they went out with Roadkill.
They did. We saw them
Right.
with Thrill Kill when they came through the Detroit area,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so I had to talk to Groovy about that.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
speaking of Groovy Man, he is coming to, I'm sorry, I keep cutting it. I apologize.
No.
Groovy Man is coming to Motor City Nightmares Horror Convention, and we're going to go and see
Oh,
him there.
Oh, wow.
So I expect
yeah.
to see pictures of me, maybe videos of something hanging out with Groovy Man for a minute.
Yeah, word,
Oh,
word. That's good.
excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Hey, you
Groovy.
got to go where the action is, and he is groovy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Groovy.
Yeah.
The Groovy.
I'm excited as hell.
Yeah.
Thrill Kill Cult was one of the first genre type albums that I was given. The first thing I ever heard was a band called, you may or may not know them, was called Stereotaxic Device, right?
Okay.
And I think I have it around here somewhere. And on the cover of their album was like a big crucified monkey. They were big animal activists. Really great stuff. And when I first heard it, I was entranced and I loved it. Then I saw the Warlock video,
Mhm.
history from there on in.
Mhm.
So I was given 4 albums, I believe it was. The Stereotaxic Device, Skinny Puppy's Last Rites, Leather Strips, Signs for the Satanic Citizen, and I think it's over here, a copy of it. I See Good Spirits and I See Bad Spirits, Phil
Yeah.
called. So even getting to see them perform was freaking amazing. But now to go and
Yeah.
meet Groovy Man, that's sort of like,
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of childhood things accomplished in the last year or two that I've never thought I'd get accomplished at all. That's like all the autographs I get and stuff, all these famous people I get
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
to meet. I'm fulfilling the wishes of a child that never got to have any. So
That's
it's a little
good.
weird, I guess. I don't know, but
That's
Well,
beautiful.
it's an honor meeting you.
Yeah.
It really is.
well, it's sort of meeting. I'd like to meet you proper.
That's all right.
I'm
That's good.
I'm even more wonderful
That'll
in
happen.
person.
That'll
I know
happen.
you are. I know
Yeah.
you are. I know you are.
Well, the thing is, it's cool to be able to connect like this, and this is a great thing about the modern age. We can connect this way.
Yeah, I know.
Who would have thunk it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're in Detroit. You know,
Right.
Joey's in Austin.
Right.
And Joe is in, Seattle.
Mhm.
I'm in
So
Colorado.
I mean,
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is some real
Yeah.
Jetsons fucking Dick Tracy shit right there.
right.
And
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's freaking
And
awesome. Yeah.
it's great because, we
Yeah.
can actually connect. And again, I will specify, I am talking to Charles Levi. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's
That's
not all
right.
right. It's great.
Thank you.
It
Thank,
really is, though.
thank you.
Stop laughing at me.
Yeah.
No, that's
He's
thank
pretty
you
fucking
very
awesome,
much.
man. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Charles,
Mm.
when I say things like I talk about the people that I respect and admire, I call them the makers of dreams. And you are indeed one of those. You're
Yeah.
a very amazing chapter of my life. And not just because as a kid listening to music, but
Uh-huh.
as a maker of those things that helped to form the things I loved, but also inspired me to do anything, you
Yeah.
know?
Thank you.
So the fact that I can sit here and talk with you,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, still blows my mind
All right.
too, that,
Yeah.
this guy's my big brother now,
Yeah.
and
absolutely,
it's,
absolutely.
it's,
So, yeah.
it's fucking awesome.
Mhm.
You guys,
I have
you
to,
guys
every
are
once in a
keeping me.
while I go, dude, fucking Levi, man.
Right.
I
Absolutely.
know. Oh no.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever really, really chatted with you. I'm like, is this fake?
Yeah.
Come on.
No,
I know the
it's-
scams that are out there,
Yeah.
but it really
I
is.
know. No,
great.
Danny thinks highly of you.
I know, and I love chatting with her.
I love her so much.
Yeah.
I hope we get more time to do that. I have to teach her about contouring and whatnot. I
Yeah.
said would. So
Yeah.
she's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
You're very lucky.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you very much. I
Of
wish,
course.
we'll be traveling.
Yeah.
You meet her.
I hope
She's
so. I
in-
mean, I know you guys she was talking about us might come out to tour the Midwest way. So
Yeah.
that would be nice if we could make that happen. I like to go to a lot
Yeah.
of places. We'll be going to Chicago again in November, I believe. We're
Oh, yeah?
also going down to Indiana.
Uh,
When are we going to Fairmount? The end of June we'll be going to Fairmount, Indiana, which is the hometown of James Dean. So
uh,
you know, we're in Detroit, so we're always able to get around a lot in the Midwest. So should we
Mhm.
get that opportunity,
Yeah,
we absolutely need to take it. Absolutely.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I know. Now, so I'm gonna talk to Buzz and see what's his plans are as far as traveling.
Yeah.
He wants to take a little time off, from the tour and stuff. But
Sure.
yeah, but Groovy makes me smile.
Well, how can he not? He's groovy.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, he's
really
a
is,
groovy man.
you know.
I,
And
I
I'm
don't
I'm
know.
like really looking forward to meeting him. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that'll be
Groovy's
awesome.
cool.
Cool. Well,
Groovy's
I'll
a
make
good
sure I'll
man.
get a really good picture with him, and we'll,
Yeah,
like,
There you
we'll point at the camera, something like that. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know if that's cool or not when I do that. Like, look at the camera. Here we are talking to
go.
No, he's cool.
you. It's
Gro-
like I
Gro-
maybe I just seem like a goober, but you know, I'm
no,
kind of a
no,
goober. It's all right. I get all
no,
those great autographs, and I get people holding my puppy. So hey, I win.
yeah.
You
Word.
want to know what a great moment was? I'm going to tell you a total geek moment, which will reveal a lot of my true nature.
Uh,
So we went to the Days of the Dead in Chicago last March,
yeah.
and there were so many great people there. I got to meet Clive Barker. Hello.
Uh,
He signed for me. He pet Madam Weeps. He actually asked to see her because he was in poor health, and I didn't want to
mhm.
bother him. He's like, "Oh, can I see her? Bring her here." I'm like, "Hell yes, here we go." I
Yeah.
got to meet
Yeah.
Clive Barker, all these great people, but a
Yeah.
total geek moment that I was actually giddy about and had to be told a few times to stop and shut up was to meet Denise Crosby from Star Trek, Tasha Yar.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, I was really excited. I even brought, I think it's over here somewhere, I don't know, maybe a toy for her to sign like a proper geek does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an original, all right? It's an original from the line
Mhm.
from the forget it. And she was so excited because I brought up Madam Weeps. I have pictures of Tasha Yar holding Madam Weeps.
Oh wow.
That's yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, I had the biggest crush on her. Oh
Well,
my
who
God.
didn't, you know?
Yeah, no, right?
And she is phenomenal. I mean, I just spent so much time chatting with her. It was so wonderful, you know? So, I mean, that was a big geek moment, and I love me some Star Trek. So, and then we are going soon to the Detroit Motor City Comic Con.
Mm.
Wait for it. Wait for it. To meet William Shatner.
No way.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's gonna be so cool.
A friend of mine had a William Shatner.
Oh my God, it's going
Yeah.
to be amazing.
It's gonna be
Amazing. No, I'm like sort of like, I don't know if I can contain myself, but
My friend had a
I-
William Shatner album.
I
yeah.
have one. I have,
Yeah.
well,
He
I
was
sort of have
fucking-
one. I have some CDs, but I have the one he did, the Cramps Garbage Man.
Yeah.
I've got like, I've got this ridiculous, like, I think it's like green or something of him singing Garbage Man. It's wonderful. I am a total geek.
Oh
You
my
have to
God.
know that I
yeah.
try to portray this. I'm very stoic and cool, and I am those things, but I'm a total geek. And
Now,
you know,
do you
Star
have
Trek,
the
all of these things. I mean,
do you have the
like what?
Leonard Nimoy album with Bilbo Baggins on it?
Yes. Oh, yes. In the middle of the earth, in the
Yeah.
land of the Shire, there's a brave little hobbit whom we all admire. Cut that part out. You didn't hear that. That was horrible. Why did you let me do that? Why didn't you stop me?
You rocking, you rocking.
Oh man.
So yes, the answer is yes. But I have an interesting story about Leonard Nimoy, actually. But it's not as cool as like meetings. I never got a chance to. But a long time ago in a galaxy, no, wrong star thing. Sorry. A long time ago, I went. People will kill you for that if you're not careful. If you
Yes,
cross
I
the
will.
streams with Star Wars, see that?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I will never cross the streams again.
No,
I'm kind of fuzzy on the whole
that's a
good and
red
bad
dwarf.
thing.
That's a Red Dwarf reference.
You know the Red Dwarf.
I
You
do know the Red
smeghead,
Dwarf.
you.
I am a smeghead. I
All
am a
right.
fucking smegger. Yes, I am.
Right. We can get to that, but I will finish the Leonard Nimoy thing because you don't want even if you get me started, I have a cold curry waiting for you. So
Oh yeah.
I'm getting this look right now that I think is a bit of a face palm. I'm not sure. All right. So when I was about 16 or 17, I went to my first ever convention. It was a Star Trek convention. And it was a little bit different. Then, of course, now everything is there's these tables and booths and merch, and there's so much shit. So I didn't have the means to do that. You know, I could just get a ticket and go, and Leonard Nimoy and John Delancey were going to be there. Wonderful. So they had this special thing afterwards. Like I wanted to meet him and get an autograph, but I didn't have the means to do that. I only had so much money.
Yeah.
But there was a special thing after the convention that Nimoy and Delancey were doing. I believe it was called either like Night Terrors or Night Chills, something like that. So they were going to give live readings of Edgar Allan Poe stories.
Oh, wow.
Right. So I loved Edgar Allan Poe, always have. And to think of, you know, you're going to have Spock and Q, it's a no-brainer, right?
Hmm.
So I remember being in this darkened auditorium, and they're both at a podium. And what I remember most is when they did my favorite story, The Cask of Amontillado. Now, they weren't just reading it, they were dramatically reading it. And I'm like, Jesus, people don't realize sometimes how talented these people really are because they only see, you know, live long and prosper or whatever
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And that moment when that was the first time I'd heard somebody do a reading like that, and a very dramatic one at that.
Yeah.
So that actually influenced me to do something I do now, which is to do audiobook readings.
Mhm.
Because all that time ago, I heard them do that, and I thought, this is fucking amazing. So that is another thing when you say, like, you know, fuck it, I'm going to do it. There's a corner over here you can't really see. But in that corner is a large closet. That closet has been made into a sound booth. Not a
Oh,
completely proof booth, but it's sound booth where
sound.
I've set up to do audiobook recordings because one of the things I desperately want to do is read audiobooks to people in a dramatic kind of fashion.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I sort of did that on YouTube with a few short stories. Nobody fucking watches, but you know, they're out there. So that actually started from seeing Leonard Nimoy and John Delancey do Edgar Allan Poe when I was a teenager. There you have it. Took me a while to get to doing it, but you know.
That's fucking awesome. I've
Thank you.
always wanted to
Right.
do that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Actually, it started out with I've always wanted to voice cartoons.
Oh yeah.
And I need to find an outlet for that.
Well, you know what? That's again where it's great
Yeah.
you can do that because
Mhm.
when I first was starting all of this, again, I didn't really know what to do with it. So I looked into like, oh, I'd love to read for Audible or something, right? Well, when you go really looking into it, there's a lot of cream of the crop people that'll basically tell you, well, if you don't have a lot of money and all this great stuff, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And you leave there going, okay.
Okay.
So then I said, well,
Oh.
fuck off. And I built my own sound booth and I got
Yeah.
the equipment and whatnot. And I'm like, all right,
Do it.
well, I'm going to start doing these. And I started recording myself doing dramatic readings of different types of stories to get myself primed for the different things I'm doing now. And I'm just now getting right back into that. There's a story. I can't do it for money because the public domain concept is a bit sticky about it.
Mhm.
But I think, is the book over there somewhere? Somewhere over there. All right. So there is a book. It's very important to me. It's probably the most inspirational part of my life in general. Now I shall tell you what. How's that? So, Laura, would you see if the prince is in there somewhere? Over here, darling. The stack of books. Thank you. I can't see over there. I'm sorry. So all right. Now there are two people as artists that are people would know of course, that have given me a great deal of personal influence. One of them I've got to meet a little bit would be Nivek Ogre, because when I was 11 years old and I first heard Skinny Puppy, opened up my mind and started to shape a lot of, thank you, darling, shape a lot of the different things that I would do. What's great about Nivek Ogre is I've gotten that chance to meet him and I can actually say thank you. I'm hoping to see him again at one of the horror conventions coming up. But there's another person that actually has much more influence who I can never properly say thank you to. And let's see if I've got something. Yeah, here we go. That would be this man here. Can you see that all right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That is James Dean. All right.
Yes.
James Dean himself,
Mm.
the rebel without a cause, is probably, let me see, that's a better picture. There you
Yeah.
go. So he is probably the most influential individual ever in my life.
Yeah.
His work touched me very early on, and it wasn't so much about being like James Dean as it was being able to evoke emotions and whatnot.
Mhm.
So, by the way, this is from this is a book called James Dean, American Icon. This picture here, if you can see that picture, it's an Andy Warhol.
Mm-hmm.
You see that all right?
Yep.
So, in the town of Fairmount, Indiana, where James Dean is from, there is a place called the James Dean Gallery, run by a gentleman, two gentlemen, I should say. That would be David Lower and Lenny. They just recently were able to get married. That's a wonderful thing. This is David's book here. I don't know if you can see
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. It's called That's How Strong My Love Is. You want to meet an interesting person, you meet David Lower. Because what's cool is that he has known everybody and met all these wonderful people, has had an amazing life. So that picture on that book I showed you, the Andy Warhol, we were just over there, I think back in September, we went down there around James Dean Festival time. And we were talking with David and Lenny. The nicest, most wonderful people. David's a very quiet and unassuming man. Lenny is chatty and sweet as can be.
Mm.
So David points up to the corner and he says, there's this poster, looks like that poster. It's a Japanese poster. He says, oh yeah, that's the one that Andy borrowed from me to make that picture. He was supposed to give me a copy, but he died. And I'm like,
Oh,
what? Holy
Hmm.
shit. It's
wow.
not just some guy running the James Dean Gallery. This man, you have to read that book. You have to go to the James Dean Gallery. I've
Yeah.
just run around in circles. I apologize. Getting to the point now. So
Hmm.
I found out when I was very young that James Dean's favorite book was a book called this. If you can see that. I've got like the screen blocking me, so I can't quite see what I've got going on. You see that?
Mhm.
Is this
Possibly?
The Little Prince?
Okay, so The Little Prince. The Little Prince. Very good.
One of my
Now,
favorite books. Yeah.
it is the greatest book ever written. So when I found out that it was James Dean's favorite, of course, it is at the ripe age of like 12 or whatever it was, I had to have it, of course.
Mhm.
And when I got it, I realized there was more than I had bargained for because this book is the single biggest influence in my life. The concept of it is it with only with the heart that one can see properly or rightly. It's only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye is the greatest piece of advice and wisdom you will ever get. So even though this does not look like it would match me, this is the biggest inspiration that I have.
That's a
So
good
now,
inspiration. Yeah.
so now it is my desire. Like I said, I can't do it for money because copyright issues are a problem with this book
Yeah.
regarding public domain. Is I'm going to do a completely dramatized reading of this book,
Oh,
and I'm going
I
to put it out
cannot
there.
wait. I cannot wait. You know, it's
Yeah.
also one of the greatest songs ever made.
And I'm probably going to sound awful, but I'm going to do it.
Huh.
It'll be interesting.
Do you know
Right.
the song
Which one? I'm sorry.
The Little Prince by Psychotica?
Oh yes, absolutely I do.
One of
Fantastic
the
Absolutely I
most
do.
song.
beautiful fucking songs ever written.
And that's the thing, you know, you wouldn't think, even just
He-
given the name of the band, you'd be like, what?
Yeah. And
What
yeah,
is essential is invisible to the eye.
yeah, and he just passed last year.
Hmm,
Patrick
really?
Briggs.
Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
completely unexpectedly, and so I guess I will never get to see him perform that live.
I saw it
Yeah.
live, and they
Breaks
were
my
touring
heart.
with Jack Off Jill, and I got to meet my friend Scott, who was Daisy Berkowitz, who was in Marilyn Manson, and
Ah,
Yeah.
very, very, very kind people. They all were. My friend, he performed a few Psychotica songs in high school for the talent show, and we
Hmm.
told Patrick that, and he brought my friend on stage to sing Little Prince with him during a
Oh
show.
man,
Oh, wow.
Like that's like such a
That's
I
amazing.
just I would have so loved to meet Patrick. I really admired what he
Yeah.
was doing back then. Yeah, that song in particular hit me hard when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I related to it a lot. So yeah, and then the fact that it's one of my favorite stories of all time.
Well, I think it's a story that if everybody, as the book even says, here it is again, gets past the idea that it looks like a kid's book
Mhm.
and that, you know, okay, there's a cartoon out there, there's a really bad musical movie out there with Gene Wilder. Oh,
Yes, I know. Is it? Wait a minute. Is it
oddly
Gene
enough in it.
Wilder?
You know, so if you put all that aside, yeah, he was what part was he?
That's yeah.
I don't remember
Oh, okay.
which
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
character he was, but he was one of them. And it's really awful. Like it's a musical, So
Yeah.
you know right off, you're like, oh, this is going to be different.
Mm.
But the idea being that, if you look, and you all know this one, but I'm going to share it again anyway, because
Mm.
there is the concept of what are these pictures? What is this? What is that? It's for the people who can see one is a hat and one is an elephant
Inside a snake. Yep.
being eaten by a boa constrictor.
Yeah.
So there's a great deal of life in there. And I think more people would relate to it than they probably realize would. If they can, to put words from James Dean, rip through the layers and find the roots,
Yeah.
to get past appearances
Mm-hmm.
and look deeper and find out what's really important.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
opinion. But I'm going to do a dramatic reading of it. It's going to be interesting.
That's
Complete
Yes.
with character
I can't wait.
voices and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There won't just be me straight through. There will be characters coming out and everything.
Oh, okay.
Excellent. I cannot wait. That's going to be amazing.
So that's kind of what I do. So
Yeah.
All right. All
it'll be
right.
interesting. It'll be interesting. I'm sorry. I know I keep jumping all over the place. I
We got to
apologize.
give a shout out to your YouTube channel. It's called Web of Weeps. Has a wide
Yeah.
variety of content. It's highly
Yeah.
enjoyable. I suggest everyone check it out if you haven't
Yeah.
already.
Wide variety would be a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is about that, when I started it, okay, the first video is the Skinny Puppy video where I'm just talking about Skinny Puppy.
Mhm.
So we had been, trying to get this going for a while. Everything was going wrong. My contact lenses ripped. I had to wear these like Sith colored ones that I ended up wearing instead of what I like to wear. Everything looked bad. I was unprepared. We were getting cranky with each other, and I didn't really know what to do. And I said, just fuck it. Hand me the albums. I'm gonna start fucking talking. And that's what I did. The whole video is just me going on about it, and it actually worked. People liked it. So when I got that, I'm like, all right, well, this is great, but I don't want to just talk about that. I want to share all kinds of things.
Mhm.
So to say that it's like, wide amount of content, it is. There's all sorts of different things in there. And I did say that I stopped for a while now, not because I don't want to do it, but I was getting a bit frustrated with all the work that goes into it, only to not have it really get watched much. So I've got to streamline my position on it. And I also didn't want to just be doing one type of thing. I was doing Skinny Puppy albums recently, and I love doing that. The problem with that is that obviously, I can keep fucking talking too damn much. And nobody wants to sit through it. No one wants to sit through it. They probably checked out by now. Are you people still out there? But I need to be a bit more brief, but there's also a lot of things I love to share. Like I love just sharing music. I love talking. I love telling the stories. If you watch like what I tell, like the scary stories to tell in the dark, I fucking love doing that.
Yeah.
So I like to be able to share experiences through YouTube. I'm going to be starting that up again soon. So yes, please check it out. Come and say hello. And for God's sake, people, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or whatnot, just talk to me. Say
Yeah.
hello. Share some things. When I say that, like, oh, please talk to me. I'm not fucking lying. Talk to me.
Yeah.
I love talking to people. I love meeting people. I love to hear your
Absolutely.
opinions and thoughts. It's all right if you don't agree with me. As long as you're always polite, I will always love talking to you. So,
Yeah.
that's my opinion. But
Yeah.
am I cutting? There I am. Okay.
That's good. Just
So
got to do.
speaking of the channel, I'm really digging the movie reviews. You hit on some
Oh,
really,
yes.
really great films. Shadow of the Vampire,
Oh,
Dark
God,
City.
yes.
I mean, I love anything by Alex Price.
Yes, absolutely.
And Nightbreed,
Hmm.
to name a few. Have you seen The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover? A
Say
classic
again?
with Helen Mirren and Michael Gambon. Have you seen that
Oh,
one?
yes, of course. Of course,
Yeah.
yes.
And a young Tim Roth, I believe, is in there.
Yes, very young.
Very young, yes.
Hmm. A lot of those movies like that are on the list of things I wanted to talk about with the movies. But again, the hard part is getting people to watch them.
Well, you
So
definitely have a viewer with me on that one.
excellent. Thank you. And keep watching. God damn it. I'm lonely.
Yeah, no doubt.
But a lot of it is that for me, like a lot of people review movies. They say what they like or don't like about it. Well, that's fine. I think reviews have been covered by, Siskel, but whoever else. I like to tell people what I find most interesting about it and what it means to me. And I invite people to talk
they're
about
very
that.
engaging. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I like to think that it's opening a conversation, like, tell me what you think about it. Do you agree with me? Do you think something different? What was your experience when you first saw it? I'm more interested in things like that than people telling me, oh, well, I didn't like the lighting as much, or I didn't think the costuming was good. Whatever. What did you think about the story? How did it
It made me
feel to
feel
you?
like an artist when I saw it. I saw it
There you
as a
go.
double feature
Makes you
with
feel like an
Gothic.
artist. That's important.
And
Hmm.
yeah, me and my friend Roger, we were the art fags at high school, and we would go out to the U District and go to one of the art house theaters that would
Hmm.
play the weird movies and stuff, and
Yeah.
Brazil, and what was that one? I heard the mermaids singing.
Mm.
That's yeah, we had a bunch of really cool theaters in Seattle back at that time, and it's really kind of a shame they're not really there
That
anymore.
sounds pretty cool. I mean, we didn't really have a lot of that around here. A lot of stuff I just had to discover, you know.
Yeah,
That's cool. I wish we had
yeah,
that. I was in a
yeah.
kind
No,
of a
it was
culturally dead
it
place,
blew
so
my mind. You know,
no.
I was like, I don't know what we're gonna see here, and then as the thing progressed, I was just like, okay, I'm completely enthralled, and
Well, there were
yeah,
things like that when I did see things like when I got to see stuff very, very young, like probably too young to be seeing these things.
mhm,
I always say like I knew who David Lynch was before I knew who David Lynch was.
yes,
I
Okay.
was a fan before I'd ever heard of
yeah,
Yeah.
him. And there were two movies that had a huge impact on me at the age of, I'm going to say like 4. And that was,
yeah,
and people will probably shit the bed about it now, would be Dune
mm,
and The Elephant Man.
yeah. The Elephant Man is a
Mm.
Great one.
phenomenal movie.
Great
Oh,
one.
absolutely. It's one of the
That's
greatest ever
one I
made, in
would
my
have liked to
opinion.
have seen on Broadway with David Bowie.
With
Just
Bowie, I've seen the filmed
every
version
movie.
of that. I've seen it on like filmed, but I'd love to have been there, of course.
Yeah, no. Do you still have a copy of that? Because I need one.
I think it's online, is what it is.
Oh, I should probably look. Yeah, yeah, I should probably look.
I found it somewhere. I'll dig it up for you. I'll find it
I
because that was
got
cool. It's out there.
I
Everything's out there.
bought
Come on, it's 2024.
yeah, I bought
Yeah.
Ball on a bootleg video, just a terrible, terrible copy of it, and I'm still
Hmm.
trying to get the official release of it now.
Hmm.
So
Right on.
eventually I will have that in my collection.
Hmm.
But yeah, fucking A. No
But
makeup
see,
or anything, just
absolutely, and that's
guys
the thing.
doing
Because the performance,
amazing.
if you can perform that, you know, you can do just about anything, and I
Yeah,
think he could.
yeah, no, he absolutely could. He's one of our
So,
one of
of
our
course, all of
heroes
that was
here.
very
Yeah.
amazing.
Hmm.
Oh God, yeah. Come on, Devin, come look at me.
Exactly. There
Hello.
you go.
Get with it.
Yes.
Um, what was I saying? I keep going all over the place again. I'm sorry.
No,
What
I'm sorry. You're
was I
okay.
talking about? I was talking about David Lynch, wasn't I?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You were. Yes.
All right. She's making that face. Yeah, here we go. Um, all right. So when I first would see things, Dune for one thing, you know, everybody knew, of course, Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah.
When I saw Dune, I was taken somewhere else. It was like I was seeing what science fiction really was. I don't know how to explain it. I was just a small child, but the quality of it just transported me somewhere else more than anything else ever could. More than even like Star Wars, because I never wanted to be like, you know, Luke Skywalker. I wanted to be the Emperor. I wanted to be all fucked up and shocking people. Or
Yeah.
Darth
Yeah.
Vader. I wanted to force choke people. I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
So, but when I saw Dune, it was like otherworldly. I don't know how to describe it. So that was a wonderful thing
Yeah.
because kind of took me out of things. But the Elephant Man, I don't even know how to explain it. It was the idea again about perception and choices, how we view people, how we view things.
Yeah.
And of course, it's based on a true story. There's a lot of liberties there, but you know, it's still based on a true story. And of course,
Mhm.
the makeup was crafted after the actual remains of the man himself. So you're seeing what it would have been like in a, you know, what Victorian era, how people would have responded to someone like this, how they would
Yeah.
have treated him. And then you
Yeah.
can look in the world now and see how people will do the same thing,
Yep.
Mhm. That's right.
even though they pretend they don't. Everyone has choices. They had a choice to treat the Elephant Man like a freak or see John Merrick, a man inside of all of that with a heart and with feelings and emotions. When
Yeah.
people started to make the choice to see him as a human rather than an animal, you got something very beautiful. And I think Mr. Lynch told that story, even with the liberties taken, the artistic license, if you like, more beautiful than I would have thought possible.
Wow.
So when I was able to experience things,
Mhm.
get to go to cool art houses and whatnot, or like movie houses just didn't have that available. And I had a rather secluded and crappy life. So when I got to see these things, they were all primers for what I do now. The Elephant Man, interestingly enough, is probably like a character of sorts that I relate to more than anyone else. And it's the idea that you know, I'm not an animal, I'm a human being.
Mhm.
What you see about me is not necessarily all you get. And if you look deeper,
Mm.
you may find something more. But often, many of us are not treated like humans. We're
No.
treated like we are animals of a sort or something. And the Elephant Man was something I always felt so close to because I felt that for a good portion of my life, even as a small child, I felt like I was never seen, like I was not acknowledged or cared for,
Yeah.
and that there must have been something wrong with me.
Mm.
And through greater understanding of a story like that, even just as a child, it struck me. But as I got older, I was able to probe deeper and understand more the depth of the importance of how you view yourself, but how you also treat other people,
Mhm.
and how even if something may not look like something you understand, well, you have to rip through those layers again and understand that what is essential is invisible to the eye. See, it all comes around somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This got real heavy for a moment there. Someone tell a fart joke.
Sitting all over the place.
No, it's nice when people can get some perspective, and it's weird how the human brain works in that regard. I mean,
Yeah.
because some people see something like that, or they see something, or they experience something. And when I was little, I lived in Norfolk, Virginia for a little while, and one of the neighborhoods we lived in was a very, very urban area, and I was one of the only white kids at this school. And
Mm.
I'd never been in a situation like that. It was always the exact opposite, and it never really occurred to me. I mean, I grew up in the South, but when I walked into this place, I think it was like third grade. Everybody turned and looked at me, and just venom in their eyes,
Right.
and I knew immediately what it felt like, to be in a place and have people just not happy with you for something you had no control over and no idea how to process.
Yeah.
And then I got my ass kicked in one of the bathrooms, and and I understood why. And I mean, me and that kid ended up being really, really good friends. But
Yeah.
I've talked to other people that said, I had an experience where it was sort of like that, and
Hmm.
it made me hate black people.
Ah,
I'm like, that's really sad because what I got from it was totally different. I mean, it,
absolutely.
it's that perspective of going through something like that. So when you feel like you're an animal, or you feel like you're not an animal, but other people think you are,
Right.
totally get that. And yeah, that story's profound and prophetic.
Absolutely.
It's
It was the
so
type of yeah.
Huh.
It was the type of thing I experienced from very early on,
Mm.
And I don't have much value toward my parents. My dad's been gone a long time. He mostly sucked, but he had a lot of interesting things about him. And the best advice he ever gave me, because he gave me a lot of rotten advice, I'll tell you that.
Huh.
But the best advice he gave me was don't judge people by how they look.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
Judge them by what they do. And if
Yeah.
you don't understand something, keep looking.
Keep
So for all
looking.
of his problems, he was able to provide little nuggets of wisdom. And my mother, for instance, she's around somewhere. I always tell people she's playing Blanche Devereaux of the Golden Girls right now. That's the life she's living.
I'm
I'm
getting
not
ready
even
to watch
making
your
it up.
unboxing video on that, by the way.
Oh God, that's
Yeah.
embarrassing just because I probably look like an idiot. But
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm looking forward to
the Golden Girls, you want to talk another geek moment? Oh yeah,
it.
I got it. But yeah, Mom's down there being Blanche right now.
Yeah.
And that's fine, whatever. But one thing that she did when she was very young was challenge the conventions. Her maid of honor was a black woman, and this is going back into like the 70s and whatnot.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah.
not allowed.
No.
And she told her own father, if you don't like it, you either be nice or you don't come.
Yeah.
So for all of their faults, my parents had some strong qualities that they didn't so much instill in me, it just I sort of absorbed the better
Yeah.
parts of them. And yet, when I was very young, things were very difficult. So being a so-called freak, like the Elephant Man, was a part of my life. There was a point where I don't want to get too much into it because it's very unpleasant, but I was disfigured for a while,
Mm.
and I was
Mm.
without a face for some time. in part,
Mhm.
and to actually be treated like that, like a sort of a freak like that, so to speak, or what people
Yeah.
like to call one. And then, of course, for a lot of different things over time, being treated like some sort of animal. So that is why, rather than retreat or hide or find ways to make my life miserable, that's why I do what I do. That's why it's the art of perspective and choice. I
Mhm.
go out into the world, which can be very difficult. It can be very frightening at times. But I go out with my head up and ready for anything. Like I said, I'm kind of buff, I'm not too worried.
Yeah.
But it's more to the point that I go out to have experiences, to meet
Mhm.
people. And though there have been some times where it's like, okay, I've had so many great experiences meeting people. I've had so much fun, whether it is like, great musicians I've always admired or just people on the streets,
Mhm.
Yeah.
rather than be afraid and feel like I'm the freak or whatever, give people a chance to not just get to know me, because it's not all about me, to get to know themselves, to get to experience things different, and to enjoy life, or just to pet a sweet puppy dog sometime, and relax a bit and have fun. You haven't
Mhm.
moved
Yeah.
once through this whole thing. You haven't moved one time.
I know. Look at
Someone
it.
looks very comfortable being on camera.
Yeah, that's her. That's her. But that's the thing, when I think about all these experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, there's a lot of negative ones in general. But in life now, trying to make art or be art or whatever you want to call it is not for the sake of, look at me, I'm doing something cool. It really is about sharing and experiencing things with people and about enjoying life rather than dwelling in darkness and misery, because there's enough of that already.
Yeah.
So I go out there knowing that I'm sort of a target and whatnot. But I go out there more open than it seems, because what is essential is invisible to the eye. And if you just take some time and take a chance, there's so many beautiful things out there and beautiful people, even in the world of darkness. And then usually people would look at me and say, "You think that?" Yes, I fucking do. Plain and simple. Lots of beautiful things.
All
The world is
right.
full of beauty. If you know where to look for it,
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
I mean, I outrightly, it's very beautiful, can't help myself. You Which is
Same.
not, it's just not how I feel. That's not how I am, I promise.
Yeah.
What can I say?
You're beautiful to me.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you, dear. Thank you so
me too.
much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, going
You
back
gotta
to
own
horror,
that.
who are some of your favorite horror writers?
I'm sorry. And are you back yet? Yes, you are. Right, you cut out again. I'm sorry. Hang on.
Yes, it's okay. It's going back into horror. Who are some of your favorite horror writers?
Can you see up here?
See Stephen King back there.
So this is an entire shelf of nothing but Stephen King.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is almost a complete collection of every hardcover of Stephen King and then some others. Starting with up top, you can't really see it because I think it's too high up there,
Mhm.
but a special shelf created
Thank you.
for the Dark Tower series, my personal favorite. And then all of the various Stephen King books down here, all the way to the bottom. So that's one.
I see
But
another writer that you really like right by
who's
your knee.
that? Who's that?
Mr. Poe down there right by
Oh
your knee.
God, yes, right. I'm sorry. It's like, yeah, I'm like mirror images. Yes, Mr. Poe, of course. There's of course Mr. Lovecraft, Mr. Barker, Clive Barker, of course.
Sure.
With horror, it's great because there was a time when you could experience all kinds of great horror writers, and you could go into a bookstore and find these cheap used books of like 80s paperbacks with like weird titles and really crappy art on them that would have some of the greatest stories in them. You don't really get that so much anymore. Now you just mostly get crappy art and crappy books. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But there were other things too. I liked horror was a big one. Clive Barker and Stephen King are probably the tops of the pops there. But other writers like Harlan Ellison, Philip K. Dick, Kurt Vonnegut, for like the speculative fiction genre, hugely I can talk, I promise. Hugely influential to me. You can cut that and fix it, right? But yes, those types of writers were hugely influential to me.
I
But no,
like
that's
Boris Karloff.
Boris Karloff, of course, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
All of those classics like that, we were watching. Now, this is something you can feel free to laugh at me about. when I'm sort of in a mood, there are certain things I will watch. One of them is Star Trek. That drives Laura absolutely insane. The other one is a very funny one. Well, not funny, but it would seem unlikely, is the show Highway to Heaven with Michael Landon. I'm waiting for the crickets to chirp and the people
Yeah.
to. Okay.
I love Michael Landon.
So do I. And we watched the Halloween episodes from it, where of course he was originally the teenage werewolf back in 56 or 7, whatever that was. I don't know, right around then.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting because I was watching that and I'm just thinking, God, and we're kind of laughing about it because they were doing a mock-up of that when I was a middle-aged werewolf. And he's got the fur and everything, and we're just like, oh, what a dumb movie that was. And I'm like, yeah, but it was amazing for its time. It was like groundbreaking, and it was like sexually charged.
Yeah.
It showed like a young, violent person, and it went to all these deeper levels. Stuff
Yeah.
like that. You don't get that now. When they do things now, they tell you everything. They practically map it out for you. Like, here's exactly what's happening. You don't have to think for yourselves or feel for yourselves. So classics like even like The Mummy or Frankenstein or Dracula. Oh God, they were so damn cool.
Yeah.
So damn good. Or my personal favorite, Nosferatu. And yes, I'm aware there's a remake coming.
Oh, it is?
Yes, there
I'm
is.
interested to see what they
It
do.
always is.
I'm always in. Well, yeah, there's always a remake of everything now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
interested to see what they do, but I learned a lesson about remakes, especially horror movies, because we went to see the first remake of The Evil Dead. And I think it's the first time I ever really wanted my money back because
Still haven't seen that one. I plan on it, but
it was no fun.
it's
It looked really cool, it was no fun.
yeah.
The best part, and I'm going to ruin this for you anyway, because you won't care. Trust me. The best part, as I'm sitting there with Lara yelling as the it's like, well, this is just, I can't believe I paid for this. What the hell? The Evil Dead is fun. That was not fun. And then I got to the end, and Bruce Campbell looks at the screen and goes, groovy. That was probably worth the price of admission. That's the best part of the movie, was the end credits of him going, groovy. Yeah. And that's it. So I learned a lesson about remakes. It's not to say they're all going to be shit, because some of the greatest remakes have been around. When they did Invasion of the Body Snatchers in the 70s, which I mentioned with Nimoy, that was fucking awesome. The Nosferatu in the 70s was amazing. The Thing, remakes, reimaginings. There's so many great things. But now I've learned to sort of take it with like, maybe it'll be good, maybe not. Maybe it won't suck. And I try to give things a chance with an open mind and hope that they're not just rearranging things to sort of fit the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I would point an example. My personal favorite book, I believe I mentioned, or maybe I didn't, was Stephen King's It. I first read that when I was 8 years old. Yes, I know about the things that are in the book that 8-year-olds should not be reading. I turned out perfectly normal.
Yep, me too.
So, there you go, right? Thank God we turned out to be fine. What was going on?
Yes, indeed.
So when I read that book, it actually helped me a lot in life to not be afraid. So all those years, I loved that book so much. I have read through so many copies of it. I listened to it at least every 6 months or so on audio. God, there's so much in there. So when they made that mini series in the 90s, now there's a lot of great things about that. Somewhere behind me, there's a Tim Curry Pennywise. So that miniseries is highly flawed. It was done on network television in 1990. What do you expect?
Yeah.
But what was great about it was that they kept the spirit of it. They kept the integrity of the idea.
Yeah.
And they chose great actors, Tim Curry, of course.
Yeah.
But they matched up good actors for the youngs, the adults. They respected the source material, even though they chopped the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So what was kind of a mediocre movie was still great because it had the right spirit.
Yeah.
The new ones, part 1, part 2, I think part 1 was the first movie I've ever fell asleep watching in a theater. I woke up and I'm like, where the hell am I? I was so bored. I was so bored with it. And a lot of it was like, okay, first of all, I don't think they chose good actors. Bill Skarsgård is great. It's not a question of his acting. But I don't think overall they chose good actors. I just don't think they matched them up well. I think they sort of shoehorned people in there. The other thing is that Pennywise, now look, Would you walk up to that fucking thing and take a balloon? No, he already looks fucking demented.
Yeah,
He
no,
already
no.
looks crazy. Oh, have a balloon. Fuck off, you know?
God,
No way.
God.
When you had Tim Curry, the opening scene of him going, hi,
Yeah,
and the little girl's like, oh yay, then all of a sudden teeth and shit. Oh my
yeah.
God. That was
Yeah.
exactly what it should have been.
Mhm.
So making him look crazy already and like an insane Bugs Bunny or whatever didn't work for me. But what really ruined it was that they did not respect the source
Mm.
Hmm.
material.
That's
They
true.
changed the time period, 80s to modern world instead of 50s to 80s. The
Yeah.
reason there's so much great in that book is not the crazy, horrible stuff. It's that Stephen King is writing something very real to him. A child in the 50s in Maine, working class, struggling with different things. As a kid, what made me connect with it was feeling like what it would have been like to have been a kid then.
Yeah.
Instead of just, reading something historical, I felt like I was there, like I was a part of it. And I think they screwed it up with those new movies. I think they just
Yeah. Well, they did. They
milked the
they
idea that everybody was
dated
scared
him
of
for the
clowns or
time.
something. And with Stephen King's It, you're gonna be scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like I said, I fell asleep in the theater. I've never done that. And I woke up, I'm like, is it over yet? Jesus.
Yeah.
So that's what I've learned about remakes with Nosferatu. I've already read that they're like, oh, it's going to be different. I'm like, okay, here we go. It's
Here we
going to
go.
be different. Let's change something that's already great. It's not that you can't redo it and do it well. They did that with Werner Herzog and Klaus Kinski. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It's that you have to respect the material. I think there's too much rewriting of ideas in this day and age, rather than remaking ideas. It's
Mhm.
appropriating things and saying we're gonna make it fit the things that are going on instead of either A, we will just remake something and do it well, or B, we'll come up with something of our own for a change and stop ripping
Yeah.
off people and putting our name on it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's a bit opinionated, but
No.
Yeah. It takes a lot of suspension of disbelief
Yeah.
when I see stuff like that. But I truly enjoy just about everything I watch because I'm able to watch cartoons with the same enthusiasm that I am with
Mhm.
something
Oh,
much more
absolutely.
cerebral.
Absolutely.
It's I don't know. I've got there are people that are not real happy about the new Crow that's coming out, and I'm it feels like a smack in the face, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would I would be entertained to see what they do with it.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And
Mhm.
I mean, I think a lot of it is that people were very taken in by Brandon Lee's appearance and whatnot. I think a lot of it is oddly enough about appearances. Yes,
Mhm.
there's the tragic way that he died, things like that.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
of course, whenever a tragedy happens like that, like, well, James Dean dying, he only lived to see less than a year of life of being famous, and now he's an
Yeah.
icon.
Yeah.
So tragedy often makes people feel a bit more strongly about things.
Hmm.
But I think because he looked good and he looked kind of sexy and hot in the makeup, I mean, who doesn't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No, I was with that comic book before it became a movie.
I think there was a lot of that. So when they see this new version,
Hmm.
what's that? I'm sorry, say again.
I was into the comic book way before there was ever a
Yes,
movie.
and that's
I
actually
was
from
dressing like the Crow before there was ever a movie.
absolutely, absolutely. I had
So
the
seeing
graphic novel. It's a Detroit thing.
Yeah, and
So
and then when we heard that Brandon Lee was going to be doing it, there was a
Mhm.
little bit of trepidation there because
Of
he's
course.
not the strongest actor necessarily,
Right.
but he took that role and made it his own, and it was a
Right.
fucking beautiful thing. And I think that there's probably some talent out there, and I
Well, think
like
about
to
this, if you think about something like that, Brandon Lee, at least we knew. I'm sorry. If I keep running over you, I
yeah,
apologize.
no, go ahead.
There's all the delay and whatnot. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, good. I'm sorry. Um, I think
We're on a slight
I'm
delay
doing
here
my
at
best,
Industrial
God damn it.
Amputation.
All right. Anyway, no, I think that like with The Crow, having Brandon Lee, at least knowing that he had the physicality to do it
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when people, you remember back in the day when do you remember when Mr. Mom was cast as Batman?
Yes, I do, very much so. And I was
Mm-hmm.
a little excited for that, honestly.
I was too. I was
I
a
thought he
child.
was going to be a great foil for Jack Nicholson playing the Joker.
Right.
I
But if
really
you
did.
remember how people freaked the
People
fuck
were
out,
pissed.
Mr. Mom is Batman? What the hell
Yeah.
are you talking about?
And then he just came out and fucking blew people's minds. It
People
was,
still consider that one of the best.
yeah, no,
I
because
mean,
it is. It
you
absolutely
know,
is. And I've enjoyed almost all of them. You know,
I have too, you know.
the Schumacher version, it was fun, but holy
Uh-huh.
shit, that was a goddamn music video for an hour and a half to
Well, you
almost two
know,
hours. Yeah.
that's what happens when they make movies with the intent of making toys before they even make the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what
No,
happens.
exactly. So
But like the idea
I
of
have to really disconnect from it to be able to watch stuff like that and
yes.
enjoy it. Because I sometimes I just refuse to not enjoy what I'm watching. And sometimes that is so
No,
difficult.
I agree. I agree. Oh, yeah. But I mean, like with The Crow, you know, people are, I think, taking it too personally. Now, we obviously have opinions, all of us, you know, like I think this, I
Oh yeah.
think that, because we like what we like, or we don't like what we don't like. I went on a rant just about Stephen King's It there, you know, who really cares what I think? It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think people take it too personally, as though they're being personally offended.
Yeah.
So with the new Crow coming, if you like it, wonderful. If you don't, then don't fucking watch
Yeah.
it.
It
Don't.
might suck. It might suck, but I have a feeling Sarsgaard is a
It
good enough
might suck and it
actor.
might not. It might be
And,
okay.
you
You never
know, and
know.
I'm thinking maybe it's a new version of the Crow. I mean,
Right.
honestly, that every one of those movies stands alone as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not really looking at it
Absolutely.
like a remake as much as I'm looking at it as you know,
I
just
think
another chapter in the story.
I think the concern I have with that is that I think that they're looking at it as a remake.
I know, I think they are, and I
Mm.
that
But
really
you know what? In spite of the fact that Charles Levi's not in it, it might be good.
Yeah,
yeah.
true.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But that's the thing about any of this kind of stuff. You can have your opinions. You could be like, oh, maybe it sucks, but you got to check it out and find out for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
have an open mind and say, all right, at least I could, okay, I have a great story for you. You're probably going to think it's weird, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So this is the story, and I'm going to get a look in a moment. I can see it about the Brussels sprouts. Yeah, right. All right. So here's the deal. So many odd years back, Laura and I went to visit a family member of mine I have not seen since I was a child. So we drove out of state, you know, to go and meet up with them and see them after all these years. And that's going to be great. You know, they're always nice people. It seemed like so much time had passed. We're going to visit and catch up and have a good time. So they're like, well, come on down, you know, we're going to make dinner for you. It'll be really great. Like, oh, great. That's so nice. We're going to go. They're going to make us dinner. This is going to be wonderful. What are you making for dinner? This will be great. Oh, blah, 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 and Brussels sprouts. Dun, dun. I know. I know. So,
Oh,
big people that we are grown-ups, we're just like, fuck, Brussels sprouts, we can't eat those. Oh my God, I can't do that. I can't. Have you actually eaten one? Well, you know, maybe when I was a kid. They smell horrible. We can't do, what are we gonna do? Right? So, all right. So we're there, and I'm like, all right, we can't be disrespectful and rude. And she's like, well, I'm not eating it. I'm like, well, they're not your family. You don't have to. So I am going to take one for the team, and I will take a Brussels sprout or two. And in my head, I'm seeing myself as a child, just like Brussels sprouts. Oh my God. Oh my, there's horrible things that came out of a can and it was stinky and oh. So I'm sort of hyperventilating, but trying not to show it. Like, yes, dinner will be lovely. And then the Brussels sprouts come out, and you can almost hear the music, you know. Done. Brussels sprouts. So like a proper guest, I take some onto my plate, and I'm like, thank you. This is very lovely. Thank you. And then Laura's looking at me like I'm insane because she knows I have to eat it. I sink the fork in. There's an audible chunk. Clink. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my God, these are fucking wonderful. Yeah, I would love some more, please. Oh my, are these real These aren't real Brussels sprouts. That's not what they taste like. What did you do to them? Did you put like crack in them? I guess. And forget the rest of the food. Oh my
Yeah.
God, Laura, you got to try this. No, shut up and try it. You're gonna love it. I know. And then you see her over there.
Yeah,
Oh my God, these are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So
no
from there
kidding.
on in, well, the thing is, I think that was like how many years ago? I'm gonna say
Oh my God, that's awesome.
4. Let's say 4 years ago, maybe.
Oh my
So
God.
here we are as grown people, still afraid of the Brussels sprouts, like
Yeah.
idiots. And of course, most things are not as bad as you want to make them out to be. Whether it's a remake of a movie or doing a video here with you guys and being all like, oh, what if no one likes it? Most things are not that bad. Most things are Brussels sprouts. You might find that you really like them. I make them all the time now. I make them
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh my God,
I
they're so
love
good.
them. I still
A
won't eat
little
them
bit
out
of
of the
balsamic
can.
vinegar and some sea salt.
Oh
Holy
my, usually
shit.
I'll give you some recipes. I'll do some amazing shit with them.
Yeah.
I still won't eat them out of the can because they look like hell and they smell like hell when you open it.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. It's like spinach out of a can. It just, fuck Popeye, you know. So,
I don't know.
but the idea being that,
Popeye got me really addicted to spinach out of a
did he
can.
really?
He did.
I
Yeah.
mean, what did you
I'm
want
like,
to look like
yeah.
him in the end?
Oh.
All right. If I could come out like Robin Williams playing him, I would do it. But if I got to look like the cartoon, I'm not doing it. But the point is that there are many things in life that you could be like, oh, no, 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 I'm not doing this because I think I know better.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we don't know shit about the Chromie Maker, really. We don't know what it's going to be like. Just like any of it. I didn't know that the Evil Dead would piss me off so much, but it did. I didn't know that it would bore me, but it did. However, if I hadn't looked, I wouldn't have known because there's a lot of things, movies, all kinds of stuff, Brussels sprouts, that had I not tried, I would have missed something. Or at
Yeah.
the very least, there's the writer Harlan Ellison. Don't know if you're really familiar with Harlan Ellison that much, but he has the greatest quote there ever was. And it is this: You are not entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your informed opinion. No one is entitled to be ignorant.
Oh, I
Yeah.
There you
love
go.
that. I love
There you
that.
go.
You
I
know,
actually met him when I was, by chance, I met him actually. And boy, was he the most like cantankerous and vile man, and I adored him
oh
beyond belief.
no.
He was amazing. He's this kind of beady-eyed looking little man, and he's harsh as can be. And I happened to be at, what was that? The Iliad bookstore in Hollywood, West Hollywood. And there he was. And he's got this really gruff voice. And it kind of reminds me of like Neil Gaiman was a really good friend of his. And Neil Gaiman sounds really cultured and wonderful. He do his impression of Harlan Ellison was like, Gaiman, it's me. Where you at? I'm gonna come to your house. I'm gonna burn it down. I'm gonna sow the fields. Call me. So when I met him, that's kind of what I got. I'm like, this is amazing. And he signed a few books for me, and which is awesome. And I still have those. And he wanted to make sure he's like, you're not just a fan of me because I'm Harlan Ellison. I'm like, no, sir. I found one of your books by chance on a shelf in an old library
Uh,
called Alone Against Tomorrow, and that was for me. So anything Harlan Ellison says or has done is wonderful. But that quote is our words to live by, that you're not entitled to
they
your
really
opinion.
are.
You're entitled to your informed opinion. You're not entitled to be ignorant. If you're ignorant and say, ooh, Brussels sprouts when you never even tried it, shut the hell up. That's just my opinion. See, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Well, you
What can I
remember
say?
the movie what's
All
his
right,
name?
good.
Willem Dafoe, David Bowie was in it, The Last Temptation of
That's
Christ.
good.
That came out while I was in high school.
Oh, The Last Temptation?
Yeah.
Oh, I could talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I people were so up in arms about that. I mean,
Yeah.
like whole churches and everything. My family's fairly religious, and
My father was,
they're
yes.
like,
I was raised
I'm gonna see that movie. It's just a horrible, horrible thing. It's a horrible
I
thing.
was raised as a
What's horrible
born-again
about it?
Christian, so
Well,
yeah, I
we
know.
were just told it's a horrible, horrible thing. And I'm like, well, you
Yeah.
haven't seen it?
Mhm.
And I watched it, and I'm like, that is the most profoundly beautiful story I think I've ever heard. And I was
Absolutely. Mhm.
blown away. I'm like,
My
you really need to. I think
well,
everybody that thinks they're a Christian really needs to see that movie.
needs to see that. And the thing is, I had the same argument with my father, who was I was raised a born-again Christian, which explains a lot. And he refused to watch that movie. The same thing you're saying, oh, it's bad. It's bad. It's like, well, you don't even fucking know, do you?
Yeah.
And what's amazing about it is that the book and the film alone are made not to be an interpretation of it, but to be an understanding of the alleged life of Christ, to be able to understand it more in a human way.
Yeah.
And the movie is amazing, of course. I mean, Willem Dafoe can do
Yes.
anything. I don't care what anyone says,
Yeah.
he can do anything.
Yeah.
But
He really can.
oh, he really, I mean,
And
really,
Pontius Pilate.
well, that's Bowie, of
Yeah.
course.
You know,
Why should I pardon you?
why should I pardon you?
What?
I mean, just think about
Yeah.
it. You know, he's sitting there leaning against the wall, like, oh, yes, your baby brother was. Oh, wait, wrong movie. No, this is not Labyrinth. I mean, it's David Bowie.
It's kind of the same movie.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's sort of like, you know, Jesus, if you don't find the child by this time, we'll crucify you.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dance magic dance, motherfucker.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
just said that.
Yeah. The
I'm
magic
sorry.
dance scene in Last Temptation of Christ. Fucking amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what's funny? When you mention that, there is a scene like that where they're having like the by John the Baptist having all the
Yeah.
craziness.
Yeah.
That's a magic dance moment. You
It
know,
really
people, if
is.
you've not seen that movie, go and rent yourself or whatever. Last
Yeah.
Temptation of Christ. You're gonna love it. It's
You're
fantastic.
gonna love it. It is. It's moving and
Oh, it really is.
profound.
I was
And,
just the other day, I was driving and listening to the soundtrack, the Peter Gabriel soundtrack, which is an amazing soundtrack.
mhm.
So everything about it is quite wonderful. So
Yeah.
that's my opinion, but you know.
Yeah.
I will say that at times though, Harvey Keitel as Judas with his like, you know, Judas. It was a little weird that he's very, you know, Keitel. But you know what?
It's very
It
Harvey.
works.
Very
It
Harvey.
works though. Well,
Yeah.
like a great thing. One of my favorite movies is the movie Amadeus.
Oh yes.
One of my
Oh
favorites of
God.
all time.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right?
Me too.
Now,
Tom
the
Hulce is a fucking
oh,
genius.
absolutely,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm,
he speaks with an American accent, plain and simple.
mhm.
The Milos Forman had said that why didn't they have them all speak with their accents of their where they're from and whatnot? He said it shouldn't matter. The actors should be focused on not the way they sound.
Gorky
So
Park.
absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So now when you see period films, everybody's either from this place or they're doing an accent and whatnot. They're focused more on making you believe that they are English or they're German or they're Italian, rather than whether they're interesting or not, or they can actually act.
Yeah.
When you had like Amadeus, it didn't matter what they sounded like. In
Yeah.
fact, it was more fitting for them to sound the way they did. Last
Yeah.
Temptation of Christ, Harry Dean Stanton, Saul who became Paul at the end, talking about how his Jesus is better than your Jesus. You
Yeah.
don't need him to sound like he's from the place. They
No.
conveyed the story so damn well.
Yeah.
That's another one of my
Absolutely.
opinions. I'm sorry. I know it's probably a bit much, but you know,
No, I fully agree with that. Yep.
thank you.
Yeah.
Like I told you before, you get me started, you're in trouble. I won't shut the fuck up. I got all kinds of shit to say.
Levi's got a question for you.
I have an answer, hopefully. What's up?
What's Weeb doing right now?
What's she
Did you say-
doing?
Yeah, what's she doing?
Not a heck of a lot.
Oh,
There we
She
go.
looks
There
tuckered
she
out.
is. Oh, tuckered out from doing what?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know, a dog's life is a dog's life. and it's
Absolutely,
very,
and
very
her life
simple. Yep.
is absolutely spoiled.
Requires
Yeah.
lots and lots of slumber time and
Oh,
treats, tummy
absolutely.
stitches.
She is ridiculously spoiled.
Oh,
I
my
mean, the fact
goodness.
that she's sitting here just means she's comfortable. Sometimes she
Yeah.
will, when I do these, she doesn't always want to sit still for it, and it's understandable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she
I like
just loves to want to be with me, you know, loves to hang out. And it's not
I
like a
like-
lot of chores. Sometimes they're very unpleasant, but she's not.
I like your set. I like your set. The
Oh,
whole
you
thing.
like all that, huh?
Yeah,
I
like
wish
all
you could.
this.
I wish you could see more of it because there's so much in this little
Careful
room.
what you wish for. We might just show up at your door.
That's all right. I have tea. It's fine.
All right.
But yeah, it's great because I'm kind of in the process of sort of redoing it at the moment
Mhm.
because it's very small, like I say, and it's the one small room where I feel I'm most at home. So
Yeah.
surrounding me are all these different things, not just what's behind me. It goes up to the ceilings. There's everything from Skinny Puppy to Stephen King, Gremlins, you name it.
Yeah.
There's a sculpture that I'm working on over here. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
place that it's a bit schizophrenic.
Mhm.
And that's sort of not how I am, but that is how the personality is. There's no one thing
Yeah.
that does it for me. Everything does, and it's crammed into this
Yeah. I'm kind of all over the place like that too.
little room where Laura hates to come in, but she indulges me. So, but that's the thing, you know, if you were to see, I've got, like I said, I've got Jaws here, I've got Masters of the Universe. You could see the sculpture of mine. It's like, oh, what the fuck is going on there? There are mannequins over here, a little bit of everything.
Oh,
So the
I've got
reason I
something to show
use
you.
this, what's that?
I've got something to show you.
Oh, okay. I've got eyes to look with. Let's see it. Oh,
yeah.
I'll tell you.
Somebody from Missouri. Where'd he go?
No telling.
Oh, I hate this time
No,
delay. I
it's
keep losing it. Okay. Are we there? Okay. Are we
Yeah.
there? Here we are. All right.
So now, where is he at?
He disappeared on us. He ditched us. Can you believe
He's
that?
got something.
Yeah,
So
there it
he's got
is.
something to show me. Yeah. All
Got
right.
a couple of things here.
All right. What do you got?
Oh,
What do we
This is
got there?
the
Let's see.
large Jareth fiction.
Oh, yeah.
The large labyrinth Jareth with the little button on his chest where you
Oh,
punch
yeah.
it, and it says stuff from the movie. I've
That's
also
cool.
got the smaller figure somewhere. My
Mhm.
sister got me that for a birthday or Christmas or something way back.
Nice, right?
Here is
I
a
can't
Ray
see.
Harryhausen figure.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
I got this from Alan Yeager.
Well, of course, the great Jan Yeager, right?
And then this new one to my collection
Mm-hmm.
that I found on eBay, and it is signed to Lee with best wishes. And my middle name is actually Lee. So I can kind of pretend this was signed to me as somebody that I admire and cherish and wish I would have gotten to meet in person, but never did.
All right. Oh my goodness.
Tim Conway.
Wow. You know, I actually have an interesting story about Tim Conway.
Let's
An
hear it.
interesting story that I'm only going to say so much about. I did meet him briefly.
So lucky.
man.
He was friends with someone I was working for a long time ago. They came up in that industry together, and he came to visit. And I was working a desk and, greeting people and whatnot. And
Mhm.
suddenly, Tim Conway walks up.
Oh man.
And he's just as nice as can be. And I'm just like, can you do the elephant story?
Yes.
But I mean, and it was just a brief thing. It was very surreal. I think I was like 19 years old. I'm like, what did that just happen? So
Oh my God, that
Wow.
is so awesome.
I wish I'd have had the presence of mind to get an autograph,
Uh,
because now I've got all these autograph pictures with my name on them. But God, if only I could have
Yeah.
gotten that. But that's amazing.
It
I have a lot
popped
of
up
weird
and
things like
I
that,
was
like
like, I
stuff
have
like
to
that.
have
Like if you
that.
got me started,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's
Yeah.
how a lot of
I
this shit
also
came to
need,
be.
I also need to meet Harvey Korman and
Oh, yeah,
Mel Brooks.
right.
Meet him and Carol Burnett. I love Carol Burnett.
Oh, of course, Carol Burnett. I mean, probably
And
one of the
I've had
most
Lawrence,
amazing
and
comedians
pretty much
ever.
everybody from her camp is
Yeah.
I like Carol Burnett.
faces with me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
She
Oh my
was
God,
sexy.
that woman was hot. Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
These are people
Yeah.
that
Oh
I think
yes.
that's when comedy was still golden,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
it's
And
not to
Vicki
say there aren't
Lawrence
funny
was
things now.
pretty
It's not
hot,
that,
too.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
Mama? Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mama's Family, where Brent
I-
Spiner got his start. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
Yeah. He was one of the cousins,
Mhm.
one of the inbred cousins.
Yeah. That's
He
right.
played a lot of
I
weird
forgot about
inbred
that.
characters. He played one on Night Court. He came in as an inbred character on Night
Yeah.
Court.
Oh,
How did he
God.
get to be
That's
Data? I
funny.
don't know, but
Well,
Yeah.
that's just another
Inbred.
form of inbred right there.
I'm sorry. I go all over again. I'm sorry.
Inbred is cool.
There you go. There you go. Inbred is cool. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping
Oh.
it in. I don't know. So now, that's true. On that note,
Mhm.
inbred school. On that note,
Inbred's cool. You saw it here with Belladonna.
That's
Yes.
right.
Is there anything else you would like to talk to us about today, Belladonna?
After all that, I think therapy, right?
Man.
Honestly, gents, there's
So-
so much. There's so much I could talk about. I mean, I'd love to talk about music and movies and all these different things and whatnot. It's so hard to narrow it down, and we'd never get done. We'd never finish.
Right.
I
There you
think what I'd like to say to everybody out there, first of all, come and watch all my stuff and talk to me. I'm serious, not making that up. Come watch me, come talk to me. If you see me in public, come and say hello. I may look like I bite. I may bite if you ask me, but come and say hello.
Mhm.
We'll have a
You'll
good
never
time.
know
Yeah.
until you ask.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right, exactly. How do you
Exactly.
know if I won't? Yeah, whatever.
And how do you know
So,
you're not going to like it
but a
until
lot
you
of it
have
is
someone
that,
do it? Yeah.
and you know what? Hey, I'm good at it, so you know.
Yeah.
But you know,
Now,
seriously, everybody come say hello, come see stuff, talk to me. It's a great time. But I'd like people to understand something that it is really about perceptions and choices. Everything I do is about your perception and it's about whatever choice you wish to make and how you see it. I could go on and just tell you all these different
Yeah.
things about me and all the stuff I like and whatnot. And I don't think you'd really get any more than you would unless you decided to actually talk to me.
yeah.
But in your lives in general, look to your perspectives. Try to see things in a way that you've never seen them before. There are all kinds of people out there, young and old. There's something inside of all of us that I think is yearning to be discovered. It's not about being an artist necessarily. Sometimes it's just about being appreciated, being heard, and being understood.
Yeah.
So
For sure. Now,
Yeah.
whenever you go places, you go to a concert, you go to a Comic Con or whatever, talk to people, reach out to them, just
yeah.
make friends with people, have a good time with people. Don't be a gatekeeper. Don't be so wrapped up in yourself thinking that you're the most important person in the world. We're all very important.
Mhm.
Some of us are like me, stunningly beautiful and wonderful. And there's the rest of it. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the thing.
And
Have
then
a
and then
sense of
there's the other
humor.
side to the coin,
The
right?
others, which we don't want to get into because, you know, ran through the ugly forest. You'd have, no, I'm just, but that's the thing. Have a sense of humor. Take your art if you have it, or the things you love seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. It is later than you think, but it's never too late. There you have it.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Sounds
I
like
don't know.
Yes, it
sounds like
does.
it might be some words of wisdom for the younger generations of
I'd
artists
like
out
to think so.
there.
But I also
Yeah.
think it should be for the older generation as
Oh
well.
yes, for
Never
Oh,
sure.
too late. Never
It's
too
never
late.
too late. Everybody has something they can do creatively,
Hmm.
and yeah, just fucking
Hey,
embrace it. Just say fuck it and do it. Yeah.
hey, I just fucking do it. I just go out there, I make things happen. And you know, just say fuck it. I'm living proof. You can do whatever the hell you want, but do it with kindness in your heart and decency and share with the world. There's so many great things out there. That's my
yeah.
advice to you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm going to look forward to having Detroit wave your flag.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
It's Detroit is to me is a good city.
It's a
Yeah.
unique place. There's
Yeah.
nothing else quite like it on earth. We've got the greatest
Yeah. And
museums, all kinds of great stuff.
yeah.
It's just Detroit. There's nothing else to say about it. And yes, you know, people will often say, "Oh, you're from Detroit," and they'll be scared. Well, you should be. I'm from Detroit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a wonderful place. Get
Yeah.
out
Super.
here and see stuff. You know, drop me a line. I'll tell you where to go. I'll show you some stuff. Come and hang out. It's a great town. Great
Yeah.
place. So,
Detroit.
Detroit,
Yes.
baby. It's cold in the D.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, there we
Stay
go.
there. So now, okay, well, I'm gonna get Belladonna.
Mm. Yep, I cut out for a second. Okay, there we are. Okay. Hello.
No, it's been a blast.
It has, you know, I'm really, really
Definitely.
glad we got to do this. I'm so thrilled. I hate to stop, but you know,
Yeah, we'll do more.
Well,
of
we're
course.
gonna have to have you on again, especially after you get done
Absolutely.
with the Little Prince reading.
Ah, yes, I would love to have people tell me how bad I mean, how great it was.
I am so excited to hear that one. I really, really am.
Excited to do it. So absolutely.
Right on. Okay.
Definitely.
Well, hey, gang, we've reached the end of
Absolutely.
another episode. Thank
Still
you for
delaying. There
joining
you are.
us.
There you are.
Thank you,
Mhm.
Belladonna, for sharing with us today. If you ever get out to
Thank you.
Seattle, I'll take you out on a tour of some special places.
All right, it's a date. We're doing it.
Excellent. So all of our shows are dedicated to the memory of our dear friend Jason Lupo,
Indeed.
and with love and respect to his wife and his son. We are also proponents of mental health awareness. You're not
Mm.
crazy for strong negative responses to the last year's worth of trauma that we have been going through. This is a normal response.
Mm.
Please keep that in mind. Be good to yourself. Forgive yourself, because some of us need to.
Absolutely.
Please talk to somebody. There's people out there to talk to. Don't try to do this alone.
No.
We love you, and we know the world has more vibrance with you in it. Love, hugs, and belly rubs, everybody.
Thank you, darlings. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.